Last week in the Swamp, Gator faithful had a lot to cheer about. Coach Steve Spurrier's offense showed signs of brilliance, such as this 75-yard touchdown connection to Bo Carroll. Spurrier hopes quarterback Jesse Palmer stays focused in the pocket, and a young, swarming defense tackles the Blue Raiders. It's Florida hosting Middle Tennessee next on Sunshine. From the campus of the University of Florida in Gainesville, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, the Swamp. The Florida Gators entertain the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders. Steve Spurrier's fifth Gator football team, and in his tenure at the University of Florida, the Gators have dropped only 4 games in the Swamp. And hello again, everybody, and welcome to Gator Football on Sunshine. I'm David Steele. Glad to have you with us. Florida has been very good on its home field in the Spurrier era. In fact, against unranked opponents, the Gators are a perfect 70-0. The question today, can Middle Tennessee State challenge that record, or will the Gators win this one in a blowout in a tune-up for next week's game against Tennessee? Let's welcome Nat Moore, my broadcast partner. Nat, what do you think? Steve Spurrier says that the Gators could have trouble today with Middle Tennessee if they're not careful.
Well, Steve is right. If the Gators don't come out and take care of business early, Middle Tennessee State last week played Illinois very close in the first half. The score was 7-6. They eventually went on to lose 35-6. But this is a team that if you allow them to hang around, they could be very difficult.
Well, the Gators offensively rely on their quarterback. Senior Jesse Palmer played well at times last week, but like the Florida offense, he was up and down.
Well, Jesse Palmer was effective last week, but not very efficient. As we go and look at the video here, you see him hit Alex Wells for a touchdown. He also was able to hit Rashay Caldwell on a deep ball. Finally, we see a look at him hitting Alex Willis for the touchdown. He was able to complete 3 touchdown passes, but he missed open receivers deep all the game long. As we look at the graphics, you'll see there that he only completed 21 passes last week, and they've got to be a lot better if they're going to whoop this team here today and get these young guys some opportunities.
Rex Grossman, Brock Berlin waiting in the wings, hoping to get some action today against Middle Tennessee. Well, Florida defensively are recovering a little bit from a stunning injury to its starting middle linebacker. The third man in our broadcast, Larry Vittel, on the field with more on that.
Well, David, the linebacking core for the Florida Gators is a very young unit. In fact, only one veteran with a lot of playing time at linebacker, and that guy, Andre Davis. Well, with less than a minute to go in the first half Saturday against Ball State, Andre Davis gets bent over backwards. His knee is injured. He tears the MCL in that knee, and he's out probably for the rest of the regular season. And that means other guys have to step up. And Saturday night, it was Travis Harris, a true freshman out of Southwest DeKalb High School in the Atlanta area, forcing a key fumble in the fourth quarter as the Gators go on for the victory. Matt Ferrier, a redshirt freshman, will also share time at the middle spot with Harris, but it also means Ferrier leaves the will linebacker job that he had won. And who gets to step in there? Well, it'll be Mike Natile, a guy who played very well late last season against Florida State, had double-digit tackles in the games against the Seminoles, but has struggled in the preseason this year. Mike Natile steps into the will linebacker along with little-used senior Darrell Owens. Those young linebackers have got to produce for this Florida defense. That's the way it shapes up between Florida and Middle Tennessee here in the Swamp. Back to kick it off after this timeout on Sunshine.
And by Tico Peoples Gas. Run smart and save with energy conservation rebates from Peoples Gas. Well, we're back in the Swamp, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium on the campus of the University of Florida. 5th-ranked Gators against the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee State. Steve Spurrier, his 11th year as head man of the Gator football program, Heisman Trophy winner. And for the Florida Gators in the 60s, has brought unprecedented success to the University of Florida campus in football. Andy McCollum trying to establish a program there in the Murfreesboro, Tennessee school, a campus of about 19,000, and soon to be a member of the Sun Belt Conference. McCollum's Blue Raiders last year in his inaugural season as head coach were 3-8, and they fell to Illinois, played a tough game up at Illinois last week. In fact, we're trailing by only 7-6 at the end of the first half and fell 35-6 in the end. Illinois just wore them down. You see some blue sky there, and that's important because it has rained for most of the day here in north central Florida. And the skies just in the last hour began to clear. It's still hot and muggy. And a great crowd, another sellout crowd. This will be 67 consecutive sellouts at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Florida won the toss, and the Gators will receive the football. Last week against Ball State, Florida surprised everybody with an onside kick, recovering it and quickly putting the ball into the end zone.
Don't mention it. You wouldn't think that they would take a pitch out of the Gators page at Middle Tennessee State would try an onside kick.
You never know. They might do almost anything to win this game. Certainly Middle Tennessee State, nothing to lose in this one. Bo Carroll, one of the two deep men for the Gators. Carroll, an explosive return man, galloped 100 yards with a kickoff last year. The Blue Raiders wearing new helmets this year. They've gone away from the blue helmets to the gray helmets this season as they get set for the big Sun Belt Conference next year. Made several changes to their uniforms the last couple of seasons. A high short kick going to be fielded by an up man. And a big hole. The Gators with great field position up around the 42-yard line. Rashada made the tackle for Middle Tennessee. Jesse Palmer, 21 of 46 last week against Ball State. He did throw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, but as Nat Moore pointed out, he missed several opportunities to put big numbers on the board last week. So a nice return by Rand Carthon, the freshman from Key West, Florida, sets up the Gators with great field position. Here is Graham. Graham across midfield to the 45-yard line of Middle Tennessee State. Ernest, the starting tailback a year ago, and then an injury midseason, back in the starting lineup today due to the injury to Robert Gillespie. Today's starting lineup brought to you in part by Checkers, high-performance human fuel. And there is the Florida offensive backfield with Graham Frazier, Alex Willis, and Caldwell, the receivers, Wells, the tight end. And the offensive line, Pearson and Walker, outstanding at the tackles. And Palmer looking to throw on first down. He connects at the 30-yard line. It'll be a Florida first down as Rashae Caldwell pulls the ball in. Middle Tennessee State defensively, a team that surrendered, again, only 7 points in the first half of the game last week. Scott Tench subbing for the injured Brent Walker at the nose tackle, and King along the front line. The linebackers Durham, Jones, Brown, Isaiah, a 42-inch vertical leap, and Francis, an outstanding player at the quarterback position in that Middle Tennessee defense. Here's Graham, nifty move. And gang tackle at the 26. A gain of 5 for Ernest Graham.
Well, one of the things the Gators like to do, especially with the inclement weather early on, is establish a running game. As you see, they come out, they give the ball to Graham twice for big yardage, and it opens up the passing game. Takes some pressure off Jesse Palmer. You need for Jesse to have a big day, and the way you do that is you get all phases of your offensive game going, and so far that offensive line is coming off and getting movement.
2nd and 5, the give to Graham. Behind big Leon Hires, he pops to the outside. Graham inside the 20 to the Middle Tennessee 17-yard line. And a first down for Florida. The tackle made by Francis, the cornerback.
This is just a nice job of blocking by the offensive line, the left side of that offensive line with Pearson, Moody, and Jurgensen, and then a nice job of bouncing outside, being patient, and you got Rashae Caldwell, the receiver, blocking downfield. Now watch Rashae Caldwell. He is the difference in whether this is a 5-yard gain or a 10-yard gain. Good job downfield by the receiver.
Palmer to the end zone. Caldwell picked away at the last last moment. A beautiful defensive play by Joaquin Bradley, a junior from Knoxville, Tennessee, saved a touchdown for the Blue Raiders.
And this is part of what has been driving the quarterback coach and head coach Steve Spurrier crazy. He holds on to this thing too long, and this one where he needs to gut it, he floats it in, and it gives Bradley a chance to come in and make the play. You know, on that particular play, Caldwell had 2 or 3 steps on Bradley and should have been a touchdown.
Second down for the Gators. Here comes the blitz from the outside. And the pass caught by Jacobs. Touchdown, Florida. Taylor Jacobs puts the Gators on the scoreboard early.
This resembled last week where the Gators took the opening play of the opening series, shall I say, after the onside kick, drove it straight down, put points on the board. This is a nice individual effort by Jacobs, Taylor Jacobs, as he's isolated on Bradley. You know, he runs a good deep route, one of the knocks on the receivers. They weren't getting their depth. This time he runs a good deep route, shakes the tackle, gets into the end zone. Perfect execution.
And Bradley, who saved the touchdown a moment ago, was the man that let Jacobs slip away at about the 5-yard line. The first career touchdown for sophomore Taylor Jacobs. First blood in the swamp. Jeff Chandler, who just hit the extra point, kicking it off. Here is Wardell Alsup from the goal line. Lito Shepherd wrestles him to the turf at the 15. There is a flag on the play. Back up around the 22-yard line, 5 or 6 yards away from where the tackle was made. And referee Rogers Redding with the call. It'll go against the visiting Blue Raiders from Middle Tennessee.
On the return, we have holding against the receiving team, 10-yard penalty from the end of the run, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Not exactly the way Andy McCullum wanted this game to begin. The starting quarterback, and we'll see 2 of them for Middle Tennessee today, is Wes Counts, a junior from Murfreesboro, hometown product. He quarterbacked the majority of the game last week up in Illinois. 7 drives were operated by Counts. The backup quarterback, Jason Johnson, handled the ball on 4 drives. On the first play, Hicks gets the call, and a big gainer along the right sideline for Dwan Hicks across the 30-yard line, and a first down for the Blue Raiders. Todd Johnson made the stop for the Gators. This Middle Tennessee offense moved up and down the field last week at Illinois. Hicks, an outstanding tailback. Newson, a record-setting receiver. Calico, only a sophomore, put up big numbers last year as a freshman at a wide receiver spot. The offensive line is experienced. Westbrook, a redshirt freshman. The others are all seniors. And the lefty fires the ball caught by Ewell. About an 8-yard pickup for Middle Tennessee up around the 38-yard line. Starting lineup brought to you in part by Checkers, high-performance human fuel. And the Gators defensively, Bullard, Gurley, Warren, and Brown, an outstanding front 4. The linebackers, we talked about it extensively in the open. Owens, Harris, the true freshman, and Hardman, the inside linebackers. In the secondary, Alexander and Shepherd, Dixon, and Todd Johnson. Second down and a pair. And on the keeper, Counts, greeted by Shepherd across the 45. The Raiders pick up another first down. Let's go to the sideline and Larry Vittel.
Well, David, as the Gator defense came out to start this thing, they started out in a nickel package, and they're going back to it now, including Kennard Ellis for a rush defensive end, number 35, and an extra DB in there with this 4 wide out look from the Blue Raiders.
Well, they can move the football. They've got talented people on the offensive side of the ball. And now from the shotgun. No rush. Quick toss. Ewell wrestled down at the 50. A gain of 4 for the Raiders. And Ewell already a pair of catches. He had 4 receptions last week. which was as many as he had his entire freshman year.
Well, this coming from the shotgun is hard to get pressure because he's a quick strop and then just getting rid of the football as he hits David Ewell. The thing that happens with this team, this is a multiple offense team, so they give you so many looks and they mix it up exceptionally well, as we've seen a draw, we've seen a quick passing, as well as we've seen the option. So this is a team that has a lot of weapons.
Middle Tennessee going to be in the Sun Belt Conference next year, playing as a 1A independent this year, and they come up to the football with a no-huddle offense. Florida struck early, but the Raiders are on the move in Florida territory on 3rd down and 4 from the Gator 47. Counts takes the snap. Quick toss, incomplete. Newsom, the intended receiver, and it looked like he just kind of short-armed it, trying to reach out and grab it.
Well, Counts had Newsom open, and that's one of his favorite receivers, but he was not able to come down with the grab. Just an isolation on the slot position. He's playing the slot receiver, goes down, breaks out for the 5-yard gain, which would have been enough for the first down, but couldn't make the catch.
Freshman Robert Billings out of Collierville, Tennessee. Shepard signals for the fair catch. The ball going to be down the inside the 5-yard line. Beautiful punt by the freshman Robert Billings, and the Gators will be backed up inside its 5-yard line after a 44-yard punt. We're back at Florida Field. The Gators backed up at their own 4-yard line. Palmer throwing it out of the end zone. He's got Caldwell at the 20. Rashay Caldwell to the 25-yard line. And that gets the Gators out of a sticky situation.
Great pass protection by the Gator offensive line. As you see, Jesse Palmer's able to go back. He's very clean. He's able to step up and release the football. Caldwell runs a little out route, catches it, makes the defender miss as he's able to get past Jermaine Francis, and pick up additional yardage.
Couple of receptions already for Caldwell in the game. Graham, gaping hole up the middle. Ernest Graham to the 45. A 20-yard run by Graham, the sophomore from Fort Myers and the roommate of Teddy DuPay.
Well, you know, last week, David, we talked so much about Robert Gillespie and the good feet. I guess Ernest Graham wanted to show us that he has them too, as he's able to make the defender miss him in open field as he goes for a 20-yard gain. Just nice execution by the offensive line, opening up a gigantic hole for the big gainer.
And big numbers already for Graham. Again, it's Ernest Graham. And about 10 yards to the 45 of Middle Tennessee. Gators offensive line doing a wonderful job here in this first period.
Or if you think back to last week, they started off pretty good the first 2 series, and then they started getting some stunts and some blitzes, and being a young offensive line, they had some problems with it. Well, what the Gators are doing now is they're mixing it up well, but they're running the football. They're pounding this 3-4 defense and just taking control of the line of scrimmage.
And also you've got Pearson and Walker both starting on that offensive line today, the 2 tackles who are outstanding talents. Walker did not start last week because of a first-half game suspension.
And you're able to move Hires back inside. And this is Jabbar Gaffney on the quick screen.
Bland saved the touchdown. Kareem Bland for Middle Tennessee. Beautifully designed play. They caught the Blue Raiders off guard.
Well, they caught the Blue Raiders in a blitz, and then they run this quick screen out to Gaffney. He double catches it, but he has the presence of mind of getting up the hill as it's the ball's a little slippery. We saw him juggling and running down the field, but it shows you how much confidence that Steve Spurrier and the receiver coaches have in this young man Gaffney, as far as they like to throw him the ball quick and let him run with it.
Last week, Florida threw to 11 different wide receivers. Gaffney was one of them. Graham on the counter across the 15, dropped at the 11 of the Raiders, a gain of about 6. It'll be 2nd and 4.
You know, the thing that Graham impressed me with last year before the injury was that he was pretty good at, you know, giving the offensive line a chance to get a push. You know, he didn't panic. He gave the play a chance to develop. And on that last play, as we look at the graphics there of his season last year, you saw another indication. He was very patient, gave the hole a chance to develop, and was able to get up in there for a big game.
Short drop, quick toss, knee on the turf at about the 8-yard line by Gaffney. It's going to be a slippery track down there because it did rain most of the day until about 4 p.m.
But the beauty of playing in wet weather is, as a receiver, you know where you're going. The defender has to guess on it, and this here is something that really should have been called on Jermaine Francis because the knee is down, the receiver's already down, there's no reason to hit it.
Instead, it's 3rd down and inches inside the 10. Graham busting over the middle. He picks up the 1st down to the 4-yard line. A gang of tacklers for Middle Tennessee led by Scott Brown, the junior linebacker from Lincolnton, Georgia.
Well, just another good push by the offensive line. And the beauty of it, now watch Ernest Graham. Here's a chance for him to bounce it outside, but it's 3rd and inches. What does he do? He leaves his feet. He's making sure of the 1st down as he goes up and over, picking up the 1st down, giving the Gators 1st and 10 inside the 5-yard line.
Toss to Graham. Penalty flag down. Graham busting into the end zone, but there is a flag on the play. Alberta likes it, but she is not aware of the yellow flag.
We have offside on the defense. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
And a touchdown stands for Ernest Graham. 2 possessions for the Gators, 2 touchdowns.
And there you see the big guard, Thomas Moody, out front pulling as Graham tucks in behind he and Rob Frazier to get in for the touchdown.
And the extra point is good. That is freshman Brent Talcott with the extra point. A redshirt freshman from Lakeland. Gators have taken a 14-0 lead now over Middle Tennessee. And Jeff Chandler will kick it off. He did not kick the extra point moments ago. Freshman Brent Talcott getting the honors to make it a 14-0 score. Alsop and Johnson are the deep men for Middle Tennessee. A team which played Illinois to a standstill in the first half of the game last week up in Illinois. It was over 100 degrees on the field at Illinois last week up in Champaign. Here's Johnson. And Johnson is down at the 20-yard line. Penalty flags are flying, and tempers are flaring.
Well, how would you like to be number 8, Jermaine Francis, at 188 pounds and see big Thomas Moody and Rob Frazier coming out there, and you got to come up, stuff them, and try and make the tackle to keep Ernest Graham out of the end zone. It's not going to happen.
Meanwhile, another penalty against Middle Tennessee.
On the return, we have an illegal block in the back against the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Middle Tennessee has the ball. 1st down.
So the Raiders are backed up to their 11. Let's go to the field and Larry.
Well, David and Nat, as you look at the game so far, it's very much like last week when the Gators scored right away, got the ball back, and scored right away. Now the challenge for this Florida football team, now that they've established superiority, is hammer them. Keep that intensity, keep that drive, keep that productivity. That's what to watch for the rest of the first half.
Calico, the intended receiver. And the sophomore who put up huge numbers as a freshman last year with 65 receptions. Just a few receptions away from the all-time top 10 list at Middle Tennessee after 1 year.
And had 6 receptions versus Illinois last week. The strength of this football team is their wide receiver packet. That's why they go 3 wide, 4 wide. They'll shift the back out and go 5 wide.
Tennessee fans up in Nashville, Nat, watching on News Channel 5 Plus. We welcome those viewers this evening. Counts. The lefty fires, almost intercepted. A flag is thrown at the line of scrimmage. Westbrook had a golden opportunity to put that one into the end zone.
Well, you know, this is where his buddies will really make fun of him, because not only did he not catch the football, it almost looked like the football hits him in the face mask as he's not aware, as he's driving up on the defender. Here's another look at it. You know, ball goes, and he just actually fights through everything. Ball hits him in the chest right under the chin strap, and he's not able to catch it. It looks just like a defensive back. Didn't look like a receiver at all.
Holding against the offense. The penalty is declined. Third down.
So rather than the yardage, the Gators take the down. It's 3rd down and 10 for the Raiders. Andy McCollum, his team backed up in the first quarter and trailing 5th-ranked Florida 14-0. On the draw, it's Hicks. He fumbled. It's loose at the 15-yard line, and the Middle Tennessee got it. So the Raiders fortunate not to turn the ball over. It appeared that Newsom, the wide receiver, fell on the football. Hicks coughed it up.
Well, I'm not sure who shook this ball loose, but watch Derek Chambers. You know, this is an opportunity to help your football team. It was Ferrier that knocked it loose, and there's Chambers trying to pick it up instead of getting on the football. You would have, if you get down and recover the football, your team has the ball 1st and 10 on the 15-yard line. Instead, you give your opponent a chance to kick it away.
Against Middle Tennessee. We also have a sideline warning against Florida. First warning for each team.
And I guess you call that offsetting warnings.
Consider everybody warned. It's going to be 4th down for the Raiders at the 15-yard line. Lito Shepherd, the return man, very reliable in catching the football. Now, as soon as you say that, something bad happens, but that has won him the job, hasn't it, Matt? His great hands.
Pretty good hands back there, and has made pretty decent decisions. Even on the last punt, did a nice job of not catching the football.
We've got a chance to make something big happen here. Shepherd is going to score for the Gators. Touchdown, Lito Shepherd.
And did he take off from the 2-yard line and show you the leap and why he's called Lito. But a nice job of handling the punt. It was not a deep kick. Ball's bouncing around. Good, smart decision. But he knows he's in for the touchdown as he's got the kicker to beat, and then he just goes up and over. You know, all that's gorgeous, but as a coach on the sideline, that's my #1 corner. I'm a little scary. You know, I don't want to see you take a chance on getting hurt.
But the head ball coach loves it. Shepherd just went 54 yards for the touchdown. Flag is dropped as Chandler drills the extra point. I think the Raiders are offside. They've been heavily penalized in the first period.
Well, David, I was all over Derek Chambers for not getting on that fumble.
We have offside on the defense. Penalty declined. The extra point is good.
And I guess he knew better than we did that all he had to do was force him to kick it, because his man Lito Shepherd, his cohort on defense, was going to make something great happen as he does a nice job getting behind the wall. An excellent move, cutting back, and now he's got the kicker to beat. You know, and if you can't beat the kicker, you have to turn in your punt return job.
The punter had the angle on it, but Shepherd with that explosive leap into the end zone put the ball across for 6. Nice effort, though, by Billings to try and keep Shepherd out of the end zone. But Florida has gone on top 21-0. And a reminder to Gator fans that if you leave the stadium after your game ticket has been torn, you will not be permitted to re-enter the stadium. This is a University of Florida and SEC policy and applies to every ticket holder. Please plan accordingly. Bring everything you need when you enter Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
There's another shot at Lito Shepherd. And he's telling everybody just how he did it, like he knew that when he first caught the football that he was headed to the end zone.
Well, there's not much more of an exciting play than a punt return or a kick return for a touchdown. And Lito Sheppard has just electrified 83,000 plus fans here in the Swamp.
And as good a run as that was, David, we got to give the special team some credit because they did a nice job of blocking downfield, opening up holes, giving him a chance to get that ball into the end zone.
And ironically, it's special teams play that was horrid for the Gators last week and very good for Middle Tennessee last week against Illinois. Now this won't bring a smile to the face of the coaching staff. Kick going out of bounds, giving Middle Tennessee good field position.
But Middle Tennessee will put the ball in play at the 35-yard line, first down.
But isn't that the kiss of death? As soon as we start to give him some credit on special teams, Jeff Chandler hooks one out of bounds and gives them the ball on the 35-yard line. Good field position to start with.
And you see signs that Middle Tennessee is capable of moving the football. They put up almost 500 yards of offense against number 21 Illinois last week. Picked up a couple of first downs on their first possession today. On the option, Hicks. Great tackle in the open field at the 42-yard line. And Owens really solid last week after the injury to Andre Davis. Plugged the gap that time.
Good job of getting upfield. He was actually down on all fours, but had presence of mind of knowing where the running back Hicks was and was able to make the tackle.
Defensive coordinator John Hope fouling the Florida sideline. It is 2nd and 7 for the Raiders. From the shotgun, counts. Out into the flat to Hicks. And he heard footsteps, I think. Westbrook was coming up quickly from that cornerback position. Dwan Hicks carried the ball for 134 yards last week against Illinois.
Well, this is one where Hicks is probably pretty happy that Counts missed him because, you know, he's up in the air and there's a beeline coming as Westbrooks has a shot at just taking him out, but the ball is overthrown.
3rd down and 7. Hand off to Hicks. Bouncing around inside, Gators everywhere. They swallow him up at the 35, a loss of 3 on the play. It'll be 4th down for the Raiders. Bernard Ellis in on the tackle. Junior out of Orlando's Dr. Phillips High School. Transfer from Southwest Mississippi Junior College and a big playmaker.
And that's what you've got to have is a guy on the other side of the line of scrimmage. You know you've got Alex Brown, but whenever you've got a guy like Ellis that can make plays, that takes a lot of pressure off of Alex Brown.
Billings gets the punt away. Sheppard will field this one at the 17. Sheppard, who just went 54 yards on his last return for a touchdown. Not quite as flashy on this play. 48-yard punt by Billings. And Florida takes the ball, Matt.
And that was an excellent no block by Marquand Manuel as Lito Sheppard came up the right side as he knew that if he would have thrown, it would have been where he would have hit the guy in the back. Good, smart play by Manuel.
Tune to Sunshine next Saturday, 5:30 p.m. for Florida Sports Profiles. This month's episode of Profiles features Gator head coach Steve Spurrier. Join the host Paul Kennedy. An intimate look at Steve Spurrier. Alex Willis to the 43-yard line, a gain of 7 on 1st down for the Gators.
One of the things that they had a problem with going back looking at the film was Jesse was holding the ball a little longer. That time they knew they were going to throw the hitch. Jesse goes back 3 steps, throws the football. The ball is actually in the air before Willis turns around. Impossible to stop that pass.
Last week, Palmer completed his first 5 against Ball State and then cooled off. He is 6 out of 7 so far against Middle Tennessee in the first period. Hand off to Graham. Bouncing to the outside. Looking for the corner, then scissored at the 50-yard line. Bland was there, the sophomore from Conley, Georgia, number 11.
I tell you this here, David, you know, after playing receiver, if I'm Rashay Caldwell, the way Graham keeps bouncing this thing outside and coming up my back, I would get out there and I'd just throw my body, because otherwise you're going to get ran over.
Which is almost what happened. Ball at midfield, first down for the Gators, leading 21-0. Play action for Palmer. Throwing deep for Caldwell. Two defenders are there, and the pass is incomplete. Caldwell looking around for a penalty flag, but no flag is dropped.
Well, the official was right on top of it, and that was a good no call by the official. Very seldom do I give him credit. But this was a good no call, because the defender has as much right to the football, and he just cut Rashay Caldwell off so that he can't get there, and there's nothing illegal about that. As well as the ball was probably uncatchable.
Jermaine Francis in coverage. Palmer now 6 for 8. Quick cross, they set up the receiver screen, and it goes for another Florida first down to the 37-yard line. Gaffney has been the recipient of 2 quick screen passes from Jesse Palmer.
And what's really ironic about this is both times they've hit Gaffney with the quick screen, they've caught Middle Tennessee State in a blitz. So therefore he gets out there, he's got blockers in front, you got Graham and Moody in front of him. Easy first down.
2 minutes, 49 seconds to play in the first quarter. Another short drop. Gaffney caught it, fumbled it out of bounds. It'll stay with the Gators, as Jabbar Gaffney had it stripped away at the 32-yard line, but Florida retains possession.
But you see what he does? He catches the hitch and he spins outside to the sideline, where if he shakes that tackle, he's up the sideline, versus coming back inside where all the traffic is coming from.
Son of former Gator Derek Gaffney, off to a great start today with 4 catches already. Bo Carroll now the tailback. Driven down at the 30 after a gain of 1 by Chris Gatlin, a sophomore linebacker from Spring, Texas. There's Gatlin. He had 4 tackles last week against Illinois. Meanwhile, Bo Carroll getting his first carry of the afternoon. Carroll, the junior, or rather senior, out of Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Well, one of the things that they say about football is nothing happens to a sleeper but a dream. As you see, Bradley comes up and takes out Rashay Caldwell as he's being a spectator looking inside watching the play.
Here's Caldwell. And he is driven down by Bradley. That play fooled nobody.
Well, but he had a gap. You know, when he caught the ball in the slot, he was trying to get outside, but eventually you have to make a commitment and turn it up. Now, this play here, if he goes ahead and tries to jump through right here, you know, you got to split him. You got to go off Willis' butt, because you're not going to be able to get outside. The receiver's blocking the defender to the outside.
Florida going to line up for a long field goal try. This will be from the 40-yard line, a 50-yard attempt by Chandler that would match his career long. McKinnon is the holder. And it is long enough, but the kick is no good. Wide left. Plenty of distance for Jeff Chandler, but off the mark, and it's still 21-0.
And most people would be alarmed that Steve would not have went for it or punted. But, you know, Jeff Chandler is a big part of this offense, and they need to get him on track. So how better to do it than to give him some opportunities, especially for a kick like that that's 50 yards that somewhere during the course of the season could win a ball game for you.
$21-0. Florida leads Middle Tennessee in the first quarter. The Blue Raiders playing in Gainesville. They have played a higher-ranked team in '91. They played in Tallahassee again against then the #1 ranked Florida State Seminoles. They lost that game 39-10.
Very competitive.
Very respectable. New quarterback for the Raiders is Jason Johnson, number 16. And he completed 13 out of 16 passes last week at Illinois. And his first throw is caught by Calico. Calico's first reception of the afternoon. Johnson trying to spark this Raider offense, which has been stagnant in the first quarter. Lito Sheppard made the tackle on Calico.
And they really like this young man. He's got the ability to run with the football. As we look at his numbers from last week, he's 13 of 16. You know, the problem is that he's got a guy named Wes Counts in front of him that plays pretty well also. Otherwise, he would be the starter.
Johnson, a junior college transfer, hands off to Hicks. And Hicks drops at the 47-yard line, a gain of 4 by Byron Hardman.
You would expect this Gator defense, especially the front four, to come in here and dominate, but this is a senior offensive line for the Blue Raiders that's been together for a long time, and you could see the cohesiveness as they're running a lot of traps.
That's going to be the final play of the first quarter from the Swamp in Gainesville. It's all Florida after 1.
Hi, I'm Steve Spurrier, coach of the Gators. You're watching Sunshine Network, home of the Florida Gators.
Florida Gators leading Middle Tennessee. The first touchdown, Taylor Jacobs pulling it in from Jesse Palmer. Ernest Graham, a 3-yard touchdown run made it 14-0. And Lito Sheppard, an exciting 54-yard punt return late in the first quarter. A leap into the end zone that put the Florida Gators on top 21-0. Second period from Gainesville, and Johnson's pass intended for Calico is incomplete. It'll be second down. Let's take a look at the statistics from the first quarter from the Swamp, Nat.
And there you see the Gators dominating in first downs, but even more so, more impressive is the 80 yards rushing there in the first quarter and controlling the clock as well with 9 minutes and 56 seconds.
And last week, Illinois simply wore down the Raiders in the second half. Went almost exclusively to a ground attack. A lot of pressure on the quarterback. Nice job by Johnson to squirm away. And Johnson high-stepping at the 50 is driven down. Alex Brown was there to put the helmet on him.
Well, David, we saw the athleticism of Johnson here. Jason Johnson is big money, has a shot at him, so does Chambers. And he's just able to escape the grabs. But in comes Alex Brown to put the wraps on him. Hold him to a very short gain on the scramble.
Gain of about 3 for Johnson. It is third down for the Raiders. Newsom is in the slot to the right side, does not have a catch yet. He's only 3 shy of the school record. Number 12. But the pass intended for Hansford Johnson, and the quarterback, Jason Johnson, one-hopped it up to him. So it'll be fourth down for the Raiders.
And Kawan Ratliff was in good shape to break up on the football, even though the ball was not complete. He was right there as a defender with a chance to make the play if the ball was there on time.
We have a new return man for the Gators, Kawan Ratliff, the freshman from Columbus, Ohio. Last week, Steve Spurrier used 13 true freshmen in the game against Ball State. Ratliff was one of them. And the flag is dropped as the ball is snapped. We may have a delay of game against Middle Tennessee.
Dead ball foul, encroachment against the offensive player in the neutral zone before the snap. 5-yard penalty, still fourth down.
Still a 5-yard penalty against the Raiders.
And that's a penalty that you take because, you know, you've got your receiver back on the 10-yard line, and it would be 45 yards to get it to the 10-yard line, so it'll give your receiver a chance to catch the ball and get upfield with it.
Driving spiral, Ratliff at the 14. Across the 25, he got pounded at the 26-yard line. Nice special teams play by Bo Brown. We'll be back.
Want to become an expert on the Florida Gators? Want to get inside the program? The easiest way is to subscribe to Gator Bait magazine. Now in its 20th year, Gator Bait is your #1 source for Gator sports. Game stories, player features, recruiting, analysis. It's all covered in every issue of Gator Bait by an award-winning staff. Subscribe today and receive 32 full-color issues plus the preseason football and basketball yearbooks. Call 1-800-782-3216 or log on at www.gatorbait.net. Don't wait. Get Gator Bait.
Hey, Jimmy. You'll scare them off. Who? That gator I'm hunting. He's outdoors season after season.
Hey, sounds like Osmos, the lumber with the lifetime warranty. Say, what kind of gator is this?
The elusive yellow-tailed gator.
Let me see that thing. There's no such thing, Jimmy, as a yellow tail gator. So remember, if it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it.
This game is brought to you in part by Shands Healthcare and by Toyota. The value is real every day. Florida Gators leading Middle Tennessee State 21-0 early in the second quarter from the Swamp. And the fans enjoying early success for the Gators. They take the football at the 27-yard line. Jesse Palmer throwing. The pass is caught by Caldwell at the 39, and Rashay Caldwell has a Florida first down. The Gators have been outstanding on first downs in this football game.
Averaging over 10 yards per catch. Let's go back and hit another nice job by the offensive line. A little play action pass there. Palmer's able to step up and throw the football on rhythm. Hit Rashay Caldwell before the defender, Bradley, could get up and make the tackle.
Caldwell having a big afternoon already, has 5 catches. Here's Carroll. Carroll bounced down at the 42-yard line.
Well, that was an error in judgment if you Bo Carroll, young man that's only 5'9", 180 pounds, and he turns back inside to the big defensive tackles and the linebackers and just really got creamed there as Ray Miller made the play.
Ran right into the 6'2", 235-pound sophomore. And it is second down and 8 for the Gators. Jesse Palmer, a deep drop this time, and the screen is set up beautifully for Graham. Graham to the 48-yard line, about a yard short of a first down for the Gators. He is tripped up by Miller.
Well, David, this play is set up perfect, and it's a first down if it's not for number 98, Tench. Watch the speed of this guy as he realizes it's a screen, and watch him come out, and he's able to get there and trip up Graham where he doesn't have his feet under him. Otherwise, he's able to go forward for the first down. Excellent effort by the nose tackle, Dito Tench.
About a yard short of a first down. Graham gets the call, bounces to the outside. He fumbled the football, and the Raiders have fallen on it at the Florida 49-yard line. Bland recovers the Graham fumble. And there's nothing dull about that play for Middle Tennessee.
And that's been one of the knocks on Ernest Graham, is that he runs so hard that when he goes up in there, sometimes he doesn't tuck the ball away, doesn't protect the football as he gets it knocked out by number 44. Glenn Jones puts his helmet right on the football, knocks it out, and Bland's able to come in and recover the loose football.
First break of the day for Middle Tennessee. They take over at the midfield stripe. Johnson on the keeper. Trying to turn it outside, and Florida knocks the ball away from him. Warren, I think, fell on it. And Florida has recovered the football. Gerard Big Money Warren with the recovery.
Excellent play by Marquise Westbrook as he stayed at home, stayed outside, and as Johnson tried to bounce outside, he's able to turn it back in. Now watch Westbrook at the top of your screen. Now watch him bounce back outside as Johnson goes outside. Now he's there able to knock it loose. And there you see Ian Scott pull it out and recover it. A great play by the freshman, Ian Scott.
Scott forced the fumble, then also fell on top of it. Two big plays for Scott, the freshman, true freshman. Ian Scott out of Gainesville. Well, the ball still at the midfield stripe. It's back in the hands of the Gators. And in the hands of tight end Kurt Wells to the 25 of Middle Tennessee.
Well, David, I was wondering when we were going to get to the tight end because so far Palmer's went outside to his speedy receivers. Last week, early in the ball game, Kurt Wells caught a big touchdown pass, caught a couple balls going through the middle, and finally, Kurt gets his number called as Palmer goes back. He's looking for him all the way. Nice job of throwing it up over the middle linebacker, getting it to him before Bland could come in and make the tackle.
No running backs for the Gators. 3 wide left, 2 wide right. Palmer throwing over the middle, threw it into double coverage, and the pass is incomplete. Bradley, one of the men back there, along with the free safety, Kareem Bland. And it'll be second down for the Gators.
David, that was one of the things that got Palmer in trouble last week is, you try and fit the ball in. You want to try and make that perfect throw, but you don't have to. You got Ernest Graham sitting out there in the flat by himself because his defender has dropped off to help on the receiver going through the middle of the field. You got to come off and go to your secondary receiver.
Palmer looking to throw again. Again for the end zone, and Caldwell just beyond his reach, off of Caldwell's hands, and incomplete. Caldwell had a step on Jermaine Francis.
And this is a catchable ball. Quarterback gets blamed for a lot of things, but this ball is catchable. It's right on his fingertips. He's got to make that catch. He's just got to get up and make the catch there. You got to help your quarterback out. Great players make plays for you. And if Rashay Caldwell is going to become one of the great receivers in Florida history, he's got to make those grabs.
A high school quarterback at Tampa Jefferson, tremendous athlete, and having a big day already. But not that time. Flags on the play as Palmer unloads again to a wide open receiver. It is Willis in for the touchdown, but there is a penalty flag down.
And that just looked like a blown assignment as Willis came wide open out in the left corner.
And this one's coming back. Illegal motion against the Gators.
We have an illegal formation against the offense. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Replay, third down.
Well, there you see Coach Dwayne Dixon and Steve Spurrier pleading their case, and I think what they must be calling is that the left tackle is not up on the line of scrimmage. He's cheating his drop and got hit. There is a better look at it. As you can see, Pearson is lined up almost in the backfield. He's got to be up on the line of scrimmage, and that's what they got hit with, not having the left tackle up on the football.
That's a tough break for the Gators. Alex Willis put that one into the end zone. It's third down and 15 instead. Palmer rifling the ball over the middle. Great catch at the 12-yard line by Willis. And let's see, they're going to give it to him or not?
Well, they're not going to give it to him, but excellent effort. I just talked about receivers trying to make plays to help out their quarterback. Now, this ball is a little high, sails a little bit, but he goes up as high as he can, double catches it, and it just comes out as he hits the ground. But a nice effort by Alex Willis as he goes up as high as he could to try and make that play.
And the Gators go for the long field goal again. This one from 47 yards away for Chandler. 20 long. This one's good. Chandler missed one from 50 in the first quarter, but he drills one from 30, or rather 47. It's 24-0.
Have a comfortable 24-0 lead with 11:01 to go here in the second quarter, but the Gators will be without a player for a while. Lito Shepard, who was not in on that last defensive series. You saw the nice play by Marquise Westbrook that led to the turnover. Shepard with a hyperextended left elbow. They're icing it down. They'll see how he responds, but for now, look for Westbrook to be back out there at corner.
And I tell you, with Tennessee next week in Knoxville, I would take no chances with Lito Shepard for the rest of this game if it continues to go like that. Big play on special teams by Marquand Manuel. He drops Johnson. at about the 20-yard line. It's all Florida so far in this ball game, Nat, 24-0.
Well, David, I don't know what was said in the special teams meeting last week, but they've come out to play.
Incredible, I would
They've
imagine.
come out to play. You know, everybody's staying in their lanes and making sure they take care of their own job responsibility, and that's allowing whoever guy is in that lane an opportunity to make the tackle. They're not getting pushed around the field.
Junior quarterback Jason Johnson, a junior college transfer from Northwest Mississippi. And they set up the screen. Johnson, that's Hansford Johnson, can't handle it. They set that up nicely, but then just didn't connect.
You're right, David. They had it set up pretty nice to the wide side of the field. They caught the Gators in a corner blitz, and if they're able to hit this, Johnson's got some running room with blockers in front of him.
So it'll be second down. Right to the sunshine. Keeping the crowd charged up here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. On the option, Johnson stood up by Todd Johnson at the 27. Great open field tackler is Todd Johnson, and he really stood up the big quarterback on that play.
And Todd Johnson did a nice job of keeping leverage on the play. He did not overrun it. Most of the Gator defenders had overran this option play. Now watch Todd Johnson. He stays as lateral and stays deep, and now he comes in and he's right there to make the play as Jason Johnson cuts back. Johnson meets Johnson for the tackle.
Jason got 5. He's rolling out. Ferrier in pursuit. Great play by the linebacker, and Jason Johnson unable to pick up the first down to the 30. There's the freshman, redshirt freshman from Petersburg, Virginia. And they talk about bloodlines, Nat. He's got them.
Well, Matt Ferrier makes the play here on Jason Johnson, but this is strictly because everybody downfield is covered. Jason Johnson comes very close to stepping out of that tackle, picking up the first down. But a nice job of coverage by the secondary, forcing Jason Johnson to pull it down and run with it. There's a lot of Johnsons in this game. You know,
way too many. Well, Ferrier's brother played All-American in Virginia, linebacker in the NFL.
Right.
Almost a block punt. Here's Ratliff, the elusive freshman, to the 40-yard line. Excellent field position for the Florida Gators. Number 5 ranked in the country, and putting it on Middle Tennessee in the first half. Back to action in Gainesville as Bo Carroll gets the handoff from Jesse Palmer up near midfield, about a 9-yard gain for Carroll. The senior from Norristown, Pennsylvania, highly sought after by Penn State. Turned down Joe Paterno and the Nittany Lions and has had a nice career in Florida.
Well, the Gators have basically taken control of this game early on in the first quarter. They have not been able to put any points except for the field goal on the scoreboard here in the second quarter, but they've done a nice job of controlling the clock, and defensively, they've forced them to punt it 5 out of 6 times and forced a fumble on the sixth possession.
Excellent defensive half. Big tackle by Chris Gatlin as he plugged the gap. The linebacker stepped in there and dropped Bo Carroll at the line of scrimmage. Florida needed to penetrate the 50-yard line, and I'm pretty sure Gatlin denied the first down.
There's another look at 3 touchdowns, 1 field goal, and only 1 turnover, which was the fumble by Ernest Graham. And even on that particular play, he had gained the first down.
Trying to sneak the ball across the 50 on 3rd down and short yardage, less than a yard. And it will depend upon the spot. They're going to have to measure for the first down. I'm not real sure about this one. It didn't look like a very favorable spot for the Gators, that's for sure. It's going to look like Vanderbilt against Alabama earlier today, the goal line.
Are you saying we got the same officials?
I don't think so, but yeah, that's a good call.
It's a pretty good spot there. The football never made it to the 50-yard line. We stand corrected.
He's well short. I say well short. That's about what he had to begin with. So no gain. It'll be 4th down.
And Steve Spurrier, being the riverboat gambler that he is, 4th and inches, he has a philosophy that you can't make first downs when you only got less than a yard to go. then you don't deserve to keep the football. So he's going for it.
This time Palmer gives it away to Graham, and Graham clearly stepped across the midfield stripe, and his forward progress should be enough for the first down.
Well, a big, strong power back leaping through as the offensive line gets a tie at the line of scrimmage. You know, that's the difference of the quarterback sneak. Here you got some momentum. Watch him go up and over as he follows Frazier right up into the line of scrimmage. Doesn't get it by much, but gets the first down.
We have an injured Blue Raider. Randy Arnold helped off the field. Jimmy Ray Stevens, the offensive line coach for the Gators. His troops have done a nice job in the first half with 7:30 to play. Florida leading 24-0. And Palmer throwing it to the official. So he's the only guy that was in the area. Well, obviously a miscommunication somewhere, man.
Well, they keep trying to hit this post pattern, but that time the free safety was in the middle of the field. Or should I say the strong safety, Delvin Pikes, and he just throws this up for grabs. And maybe on his defense, you know, he's just throwing it away as he throws it so deep that no one can catch it. So maybe it was the heads-up play. So sometimes, you know, we don't know what's inside of Jesse's mind as he makes that throw.
He's only misconnected 6 times in 18 attempts today. There is a penalty flag, drop movement in the offensive line.
Well, one of the things that happens to ex-defensive linemen is that they get pulled off while they're playing defense, as well as they get pulled off, as we see here, when he lines up at the left guard position.
Busted. Nowhere to hide.
He must know our producer, Jerry Wessel. That's embarrassing.
5 yards, marks it back to the 45. It's 2nd and 15 for Florida. Palmer shovels it ahead to Carroll. Carroll streaking across the 40. Spinning away from a tackler at the 35. Finally taken down at the 31-yard line of the Raiders.
Well, you know, for Bo Carroll to be the fastest guy on this football team, he has the mentality of an inside runner because he wants to be a power runner. Now, watch him turn on the speed. Now, you put a move on. No, I'm going back and I'm going to attack this guy as he just runs over strong safety Pikes, and it takes 3-4 defenders to get him down. I think he has what they call is a little man's complex or small man complex. If I had his kind of speed, David, I'd put a move on, and I'm going the other way. I'm just going to try and outrun everybody. I was a very scared running back when I played the game.
You outran a lot of folks.
I didn't look for contact, but this young guy here says, let me see who I can run over today.
Yeah, but you didn't have to run through him. You just ran by him.
Well, I just tried to not get hit.
There's a fumble, and it looks like the Middle Tennessee defender is on it at the 17-yard line. A faulty snap, and recovered by Tinch. Deco Tinch, the senior from Abbeville, South Carolina. Palmer coughs it up. That's just he pulled out too soon.
That's all it is. A good job by Jorgensen of getting the ball up. It hits Palmer in the hands, but he's trying to pull out and hand the ball off to Taylor Jacobs on a reverse. You know, he just needs to stay in there a little bit longer, and you've got a chance to execute the play.
In a little bit of a hurry. So the Gators have thrown the ball and lost 2 fumbles today. They lost only 1 last week against Ball State and did not throw an interception. Wes Counts is back in at quarterback for the Raiders with just under 7 minutes to play in the first half. Hicks is dropped after a gain of a couple of yards. That was Lefebvre in on the tackle, number 98. Florida's defense shutting out the Raiders so far in the football game. Here's a good look at number 98, the sophomore from Fort Lauderdale. He is excellent against the run, as we witnessed on that play. Counts a quick toss. Calico, hearing footsteps, does not bring it in. It's an incomplete pass. Great coverage by Alexander. The rain begins to fall again. at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
And this is what happens when you have quick corners that react up in a hurry. It forces receivers to take their eye off the football and try and run before the catch because they know they're going to get struck by the defender. And there we see Calico drop a easy catch.
Now it'll be third down for the Raiders from their own 17. Counts, quick toss. Newsom's first catch of the day. And he's going to be short of a first down at the 25-yard line. Kendall Newsom needing only 3 receptions coming into the game to become the all-time leading receiver at Middle Tennessee. That's his first catch of the afternoon.
Well, here's another look at it. As you look out to your right side of your screen, they're just trying to get the ball to the slot receiver on an option route, and Ellis comes out and makes the tackle. But, you know, the Gators are doing a great job of playing good, solid defense, keeping everything in front of them, and reacting up and making sure tackles, as Newsom was not able to break the tackle.
Billings back to punt again. Ratliff standing deep. Short kick. Hits at the 45, takes a Florida bounce, and Bland is there to down the football at the 50-yard line. Oh, by far the poorest effort of the evening for the freshman Robert Billings.
Well, I think that's Billings' either 6th or 7th punt of the afternoon, and you know, after a while it starts to get a little tired. In his defense, the reins start to come down here slightly, and maybe it just slipped off the side of his foot.
Middle Tennessee fell last week at Illinois. Tough opening 2 weeks. 2 top 25 clubs back-to-back. To start the season, they lost 35-6 at Illinois. Trailed Florida 24-0 here in the Swamp. And the screen has been the favorite play of the offense for the Gators. Rashay Caldwell turns this into about a 12-yard play.
Well, David, I don't believe what I just saw. That time, Rashay Caldwell caught the ball, faked inside, turned outside, and came very close to splitting them for the touchdown. This is what we've been talking about for a year and a half. Catch the football. It's friendly outside. Make that move. Now get upfield. Nice job of catching and running with the football by Rashay Caldwell.
Caldwell having a big day for the Gators. That was his 6th catch already. Palmer back to throw again. Intended for Gaffney and thrown behind him. Coverage by Jermaine Francis. And Palmer would like to have that one back.
Well, and he had time. He got some pressure from the right side as they came with a blitz from the strong safety, but Bo Carroll did a nice job of picking up the blitz, and Palmer had a little bit more time than he thought, and he sort of rushed that throw.
Second down and 10 for the Gators, leading 24-0. Palmer to the right side, caught by Jacobs, and he'll be close to the first down after being driven back across the 30. The Taylor Jacobs forward progress will bring him to about the 28-yard line.
Now this ball's a little high, David, but this might be the best throw of the afternoon by Jesse Palmer. Here comes the blitz. He knows that he can't pick it, and he steps up right into the blitz, throws it out there, gives Taylor Jacobs a chance to make the play for him before Bradley could come in and make the stop.
Ball is right there in front of the sticks. The officials don't have far to go to measure. Palmer, after completing less than 50% of his tosses last week against Ball State, much more accurate today against Middle Tennessee.
And most people forget that 2 years ago, Jesse Palmer was the starter for the first 6 ball games. It was number 3 in the nation, average, with a efficiency rating of over 173 points. So you know that he's capable. He's just been a little rusty here lately.
Came on late last year after the shoulder injury to Doug Johnson. Had a tough game against Florida State. Admits that he really mentally wasn't prepared to take over the quarterbacking duties last year, but he's ready to go as a senior.
And thinking that you're going to be redshirted and then at the last minute you're asked to come in and play was big. And I think that's where last year he was not ready to play when called upon at the end of the year.
Nice play by Jermaine Francis.
Jermaine Francis, young man out of Hialeah, Miami Lakes. does a nice job of breaking on the football. Palmer thinks he has Willis open, but Francis comes up, is able to knock it away.
Florida going to go for it on a 4th down and inches situation. Speaking of Francis, he played on that national championship junior college team out in Kansas at Butler Community College in '98. Palmer will sneak the ball and try to pick up the first down. Again, he only needed inches, and it appeared that he'll have enough for the first down for the Gators with 4:22 to play in the first half.
And this time he gave the quarterback sneak a chance to develop. Instead of just jumping in behind the center, he allowed the guard and the tackle on the right side to get some movement, tucked in behind him, and waited for a hole to develop to pick up the first down.
No backs behind Palmer on first down. He drops. Carroll really had nothing working there. Bland was hot in pursuit, even if he does make that catch. There is a flag on the play.
Well, Jesse Palmer is really not going to like to look at the films on this here. You know, it might have got called back anyway because of the penalty, but his slot receiver is running wide open down the middle of the field.
That's the tight end, I think, Wells.
And he does not get it to him. I'm not sure whether it was Wells or number 80, Alex Willis, but he had him wide open, and he chose the wrong receiver to go through.
We have holding against the offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Would have been called back anyway. It appears Florida fought for the holding penalty, and the ball is spotted back at the 38-yard line.
And look like we've got Rex Grossman gets his first snap of the day.
At the 4-minute mark in the second quarter, Grossman, who played late in the game last week against Ball State. Bo Carroll. He is speedy, isn't he? And those quick feet tiptoe to the 15-yard line of Middle Tennessee. That will be a Florida first down.
And this is just sheer speed as he outruns everybody to the outside and then turns it up as he gets a good block by his receiver downfield and just goes forward for the first down. Here's another look at it. This is speed. You know, you don't have to block a lot of people when you got a back with speed like this, as we can see.
A nice job to keep his footing, too, on a couple of cuts on this wet surface. It's first down for the Gators at the Middle Tennessee 16. Grossman throwing for the end zone.
Willis has it. And this time they bring Grossman in. He saw the same identical play that Jesse Palmer missed him on. They just ran it to the other side. Nice job of throwing the ball up and over the little linebacker or the defensive back. Good job by Alex Willis of going up making the catch. This is the same identical play that they ran 2 plays ago where Palmer missed Willis going down through the middle of the field. Grossman is looking for it all the way, steps up, delivers the rock.
And you're looking at a parade All-American in high school at Bloomington South. And a second-year freshman for the Florida Gators. And Grossman has a touchdown pass in the record books for the Florida Gators. Florida leading it 31-0. Well, let's take another look at the touchdown. Grossman looking for Willis all the way.
And this is just a thing of beauty. You had an opportunity to hit it early on. You missed it. You didn't go to the right receiver. Come back with it. Nice call by Steve Spurrier. Here's another look at it. Grossman is looking at Alex Willis all the way. But you've got a one-on-one as you see him beating Francis, Jermaine Francis, for the touchdown, who actually came off of his receiver to try and help out.
That's got to be a great feeling for young Rex Grossman, throwing his first touchdown pass for the Florida Gators here in game number 2 against Middle Tennessee.
And you know what I like about this redshirt freshman, Rex Grossman, is that everybody keeps talking about Brock Berlin. He says, what am I, chopped liver? But give me a chance.
Chandler's kick 8 yards deep. And with the wind in his face, let's go to the field and Larry.
David, I got the little slicker on here. We've had a little bit of rain. Of course, it rained all day leading up to this ball game, but the field's in very good shape, and it really shouldn't be a big factor. You know, after that touchdown pass by Rex Grossman, glanced up at the scoreboard and said, 31-0. You know, in '94, the Gators went to Knoxville and beat the Vols 31-0. It was a great all-around performance. It's not too early to start thinking about those other two guys from Tennessee, is it?
I think so, Larry. I'm afraid with 3:20 to go in the second quarter, it might be a little early for that.
A little early because you never know with a team that has the explosive receivers like Middle Tennessee State, anything can happen.
And there's Newsom, one of those receivers you talk about. He's unable to pull in the pass, and there was a flag drop back at the line of scrimmage. The coverage by Darrell Owens, retreating from his linebacker position. Quarterback Wes Counts clapping his hand, so it looks like it's going to go against the orange and blue.
If you look at the right side of your screen,
Of offside against the defense, the player jumped into the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
if you look at the right side of your screen, you would have saw the left defensive end jump offside, and that's the call. Let's good look at John Hoke in his second year as defensive coordinator with the Gators.
Of Ball State University alum. First and 5. Counts finds his receiver. I think that is Johnson with his first catch. Hansford Johnson will have the first down for the Raiders at the 32-yard line.
You know, one of the things that you used to always wonder about is Benny Alexander come up and make the tackle. Does it create a problem for the defense once you get a southpaw quarterback versus a right-handed quarterback? Because all of a sudden everything changes. The strong side is the left side, not the right side, which is what you're used to playing against.
It has to make a difference. And Counts gives it that left-handed look. He's a very accurate thrower. First down and 10. They like the option. They've run it 4 or 5 times, but with very little success tonight against Florida's swarming defense. Hicks is dropped by a host of Gator defenders, led by Byron Hardman.
The Gators don't get many looks at the option, but look like they're very well prepared here this afternoon, as they're doing a good job of stringing it out and coming down the line of scrimmage to make the tackle, fighting off blocks, just destroying any running lanes that would normally be possible.
Raiders spread the field out with 3 men wide to the right, 1 to the left. Second down and 7. Dangerous throw. Alexander almost had himself an interception.
Well, he ran this all the way. As soon as he saw the 3-step drop, he started breaking on the football. And if this ball was on the money instead of being outside, he would have picked this. 2-step drop, boom, he's already breaking on the football. He's there before the receiver is.
Not only would Benny have had an interception, but I think he would have had a touchdown. He took 2 interceptions in for scores last year, one against Alabama, one against Florida State.
And one of the things, once you become a veteran guy that's played a lot, you start to read patterns, and that's exactly... Oh, what a hit.
Okendo Johnson blindsiding the quarterback. Counts. And the only thing you can count on is that Counts might not get up.
Well, the sad part about the blind side there is it should not be his blind side. He is a southpaw. As Okendo Johnson comes from the right end position, as Wes Counts is looking out to his right, he doesn't see him coming, and he just gets crucified here. Let's take another look at it
and listen.
That hurts all the way up here.
Well, Counts holding his head as we saw the end of that replay, but he did get up and walk over to the sideline. Florida with the football. Grossman operating from the 30. And he connects with Gaffney. Jabbar Gaffney at the 19. It's going to be close to a first down for the Gators. This is worth another look.
This is when you say, is it really worth it to be the quarterback? As he goes out, he's locked in on his receiver and never sees Okendo Johnson coming, and he just gets separated from the football.
And I guess we missed in all that Ellis recovered the fumble, didn't he?
I was impressed with the hit.
nobody noticed who got it, but I'm pretty sure it was Ellis. Minute 25 left. There's another flag drop. prior to the snap? Or is it just timeout taken?
Timeout, Middle Tennessee State. Their first timeout of the first half.
Blue Raiders are going to stop the clock and regroup.
And the thing that we're seeing here is Rex Grossman getting some quality time here at the end of the second quarter. You know, he's getting a 2-minute drill, some things that you don't normally get being a backup.
And we assume we'll probably see Brock Berlin at some point in the second half as well. Want to learn about the passion behind Gator football? This is the newest release in the Gator video series. It's a 2-hour documentary on Gator football from the fans' perspective. If you are a Gator football fan, this videotape is for you. To order your copy of the passion behind Gator football, call 1-800-538-2666 or visit gatorsvideo.com. All Florida, all the time. In this game, there's Brock Berlin, the true freshman from Shreveport, Louisiana, who put up unbelievable numbers as a high school star, the USA Today Player of the Year. I think we'll see him in the second half of the game. Steve Spurrier wants to get all 3 quarterbacks in.
And this is important here. A lot of times you get down into the red zone, you're not able to punch it in, but you see that they had 4 opportunities and punched it in for touchdowns. 3 of those 4 opportunities is big.
That is Graham in motion. And Grossman looking to his left, throwing it for the tight end. It is caught. Touchdown, Aaron Walker. And another touchdown pass for the freshman, Rex Grossman.
And a nice job by Rex Grossman, knowing that he's going to get hit as they come with a delayed blitz on the right side, hanging in there and delivering the ball to Aaron Walker for the touchdown. So he's going to get hit. He gets hit just as he releases the football. Walker goes up, catches it in his hands. Easy touchdown catch there.
Chandler's extra point is good. Interestingly, Walker is the tight end. It's better known for his blocking than Wells and Ben Troop, but he catches his first career touchdown for the Gators.
And just an excellent throw as Grossman stands in there and delivers the football, and Walker makes the catch.
Aaron Walker, a 6'6" sophomore out of Mims and Astronaut High School. Well, for all the latest on Gator football, it's Florida Football Highlights with Steve Spurrier. Join Coach Spurrier along with Mick Hubert Sundays at 11:30 a.m. They'll review the week's game and look ahead to the Gators' next opponent. Florida Football Highlights with Steve Spurrier, Sundays at 11:30 only on Sunshine Network. And of course, next week, the Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville. Tennessee with the week off. Totally focused already on the University of Florida. That's been a strategy of Philip Fulmer in recent years to give his team the week off. And the Gators preferred to play somebody and further tune up their football team for week number 3.
Well, different philosophies. One is where you don't want your guys to get rusty. You want to keep them playing. Hopefully you'll avoid any major injuries, so you go ahead and play the ball game. Where if you're Tennessee, their philosophy has been very simple. Let's have more time to get our guys healthy in case of any injuries prior to, as well as gives us more time to plan and execute our offense and defense.
Hands for Johnson from the 8. And the speedster dropped at the 24-yard line. And the tackle made by Gus Scott, a freshman from Jacksonville, number 37. Well, Tennessee got a scare this past week when quarterback Joey Matthews was injured in practice, but that injury appears not to be serious. Even though Suggs, A.J. Suggs, is now the starting quarterback, Matthews will be available, as we understand it, next weekend up in Knoxville. Let's go to Larry Vittel quickly.
To be real happy about this first half is their play on special teams. The kick coverage has been excellent. The kicking has been good. And obviously the punt return by Lito Shepherd, the first we've seen other than Quez Green in a long, long time. That's going to be important when you go to Tennessee. It tends to come down to special teams as it did 2 years ago.
Florida fans just as soon, probably, Larry, not reminded them of 2 years ago in Knoxville. Owens on the bottom of that stack.
Talking about special teams, that was one of those games where you know that you've got the better kicker, and Phil Fulmer played for it. If you remember, he elected to go into the overtime and knew that if they got the ball last, that they had the best field goal kicker. Although they actually took the ball first, and knocked it through, and the Gators were not able to hold serve and missed the field goal.
Overtime has not been real kind to the orange and blue. Alabama last year, Tennessee 2 years ago. Penalty flag dropped.
Dead ball foul, the way of the game, just the offense, violation of the 25-second clock, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That's a novel.
And David, and you're right about overtime not being very kind to the Gators, but you know what the lesson is?
What's that?
Win the game early. Don't get into that overtime stuff, especially with the rules of this Texas shootout or whatever you call it, where you get.
Do you like it?
I hate it.
I don't like it either.
I hate it.
I don't think it's any way to settle the outcome of a game. Two teams play so hard for 4 quarters, and it's like in soccer when they have those crazy
The shootouts.
All right, it's all Florida in the first half of the game. 5th-ranked Gators on top of Middle Tennessee, 38-0. Florida pitching a shutout in the first half, and offensively an explosive 30 minutes of football for the number 5 Florida Gators. 38-0 is our halftime score from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium on the campus of the University of Florida. David Steele, Nat Moore, back with you. And special teams play, a complete turnaround from last week against Ball State for the Gators. Nat Moore.
Well, they've just been special. They've done a great job of returning the kicks, making good decisions on the punts and the kickoffs, and even better job of covering kickoffs and punts. So nice job of the Gators revamping their special teams and coming out with some zest here this afternoon.
54-yard punt return for the touchdown by Lito Shepherd. It is 38-0, the Gators at the half. Gators are 3 for 8 in third down conversions tonight. And Carroll picks another one up. And somebody shot him out of a cannon. Carroll going all the way.
Excellent run by Bo Carroll.
And now it's time for our University of Florida halftime report. On this edition of the Research Report, we find out how the University of Florida assists in storm damage assessment and how to prevent aircraft from lightning strikes.
Now from the University of Florida, where performance counts, the Research Report, highlighting research that could make a difference in your life.
University of Florida researchers are ready for a hurricane. While they can't stop one from hitting, engineers have designed a method to speed up storm damage assessment. The state-of-the-art system maps a beach or land area from the air. The efficiency of this aerial approach offers homeowners a big advantage, since the faster a survey can be done, the sooner hard-hit areas can recover.
We can go and fly pre-storm, the day before. We know when the storm comes. Or the day after, when the storm passed, and the weathers are calm, we can fly very quickly. Within weeks, we can produce what the damage is.
Using several technologies, including the Global Positioning System, the device records a digital map of the area. State and federal authorities typically do their damage surveys from the ground, taking months to collect and analyze data. Engineers say their system could cut damage assessment costs by more than 90%, saving taxpayers millions of dollars. Another research project could make air travel itself a little safer. On average, an airplane gets hit by lightning at least once every 2 years. Now, University of Florida engineers are trying to learn more about how lightning behaves to better protect aircraft from strikes.
They get real close to charge centers that give birth to lightning discharges. So it's very important for aircraft to avoid thunderstorm clouds, but once in a while they do receive a lightning strike.
Researchers say as they learn more about lightning, federal aircraft lightning tests will have to be continually updated.
There is recent information showing that some of the elements of their lightning environment they use for testing is out of date. and is in need of modification or revision.
That does not mean passengers aren't safe now, but experts say while planes often maneuver around storms, they become prime targets in the often unfriendly skies. At the University of Florida, I'm Quentin Iman reporting.
This has been a research report from the University of Florida, one of the nation's top public universities.
And halftime continues from the University of Florida, the Gators and the Blue Raiders. And we'll be back in just a moment with first half stats and highlights right here on Sunshine Network. Back in the swamp where it's the Gators swamping the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee State University 38-0 at the end of the first half. Florida dominating the first half of this game, Nat, really offensively, defensively, special teams. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the first half.
Well, the Gators get off to a good start as Jesse Palmer hits Taylor Jacobs on a 17-yard touchdown where he catches the ball, spins, gets into the end zone, and then Ernest Graham following the blocking of Rod Frazier and Thomas Moody for a 5-yard TD run. And then Lito Shepherd decides to get into the act as he does a nice job of handling the short punt and then picking his way down through the defenders and then gets into the end zone as the punter, Robert Billings, tries to keep him out to no avail. And then Rex Grossman gets into the act, as you see here, as he goes to the big tight end, Aaron Walker, as he completes his second TD pass of the day. Gators started out real early, getting into the end zone, and then in comes Rex Grossman at the end of the second quarter and puts him into the end zone twice.
And Grossman very sharp throwing the football for the Gators, getting his first prominent playing time. He mopped up late against Ball State last week. Florida just as dominant on the scoreboard as they are in the statistical categories. 21-4 in first down yardage. And look at the total yards, Nat. 354 for the Gators to only 90 for Middle Tennessee.
And that 90, half of those came in on the first series. The Middle Tennessee had the ball 9 times. The first drive, they gained 45 yards. In the next 8 possessions, they only gained a total of 45 yards, and they had 6 punts and 2 fumbles. So that's dominance defensively.
Let's go to the sideline and Larry Vittel.
Okay, David, well, as we get set for the second half, first of all, Lito Shepherd sprained his elbow. He's out for the rest of the day, but ideally he'll be okay, but he's not going to play anymore tonight. As for the Florida football team, with the score 38-0, there's a big question facing the Gators and the coach, Steve Spurrier. Does Jesse Palmer need a little more work? Does Rex Grossman get in even more? And do you give Brock Berlin his first playing time as a collegian? The old issue of redshirting a player, or do you let him play? With Florida's inexperience at quarterback, we'll have to see what Spurrier decides with regards to Brock Berlin, and does his college career begin here in the second half?
All right. Well, both quarterbacks who played in the first half looked extremely good. And no doubt Berlin's a guy that's just itching to get in there in the second half of the game.
And I think that largely depends on how happy Steve Spurrier were with his offense in the first half, because they had the ball 8 times. They had 4 touchdowns, 1 field goal in 8 possessions. But the negative was they had 2 fumbles where they turned the ball over, and they also missed a field goal. So we're still waiting to see whether Steve's happy with this performance early on or whether he's going to bring them out for the third quarter.
Wardell Alsup downs the football in the end zone.
What was that, Mickey?
And Wes Counts will bring the Blue Raider offense onto the field. They had much more success offensively against Illinois last week up in Champaign, Illinois, rolling up almost 500 yards in total offense.
And that's because the Gators are coming up and making short tackles on those short passes, and have gotten his timing down so well that, usually when the ball gets there to the receiver, the defensive back is there to put the hat on him.
Counts wants to throw, but his protection breaks down. He's just trying to hold on to the football now, and he is down inside the 15-yard line. Gators front 4 collapsing into the middle all around the quarterback, Wes Counts. And if it's true what they say about the most progress teams make is between weeks 1 9 weeks, too. I think the Gators are validating that here tonight because they have made vast improvement on both sides of the ball.
And the coaches also make improvements because, you know, you work all summer, you come into fall session, and you go through the two-a-days, you really work on a series of things. But when you go up against top-notch competition, you play against a real opponent, now you see what you really need to work on, and that's what the Gators did this week.
There's a big hole off right tackle for Dewan Hicks. Brought down by Darrell Owens, the linebacker, the senior from Jackson, Mississippi. Hicks very quiet in the first half, and again, he galloped against Illinois for over 130 yards last week up in Champaign.
Well, he got off to a quick start in the first quarter, but then after that, the Gators were able to corral him. As you see, another little misdirection play as they come back and try and trap to the strong side as Hardeman gets trapped on that particular play.
Pass is caught by Calico, and he needed the 30-yard line, and his forward progress will give Middle Tennessee the first down. There's Tyrone Calico, a sophomore. There is a penalty flag on the plate, and it will go against the Florida Gators. Too many men on the field, I think, is the call.
We have a substitution infraction against the White. 12th player on the field did not get off before the snap. 5-yard penalty is enough for a first down.
So a first down for Middle Tennessee State.
Well, the way the Gator defenders was walking away, you thought it was going to be a big penalty because, you know, they were really retreating as it was going to be a 15-yard penalty.
There's a fumble on the snap and a fumble on the pitch. Picked up by the Gators, almost taken in for the touchdown, but Florida football at the 14-yard line.
Alex Brown was the guy that got on the football.
And then penalty flags thrown late after the play.
And this play, David, is dead at the start. You know, Wes Count is signaling out. The ball is snapped by the center, and then he duplicates the error by trying to pick it up and pitch it instead of just holding on to the football. You've got a bad play, settle for it. Don't try to make something great happen. Counts did.
A foul against the blue team. The penalty is half the distance of the goal. Florida retains the ball. First down.
And now they've tripled the mistake by getting hit with a penalty after the recovery. Let's go back and see exactly what happened. This is just the errant pass pitch, and Alex Brown picks it up. Now he's tackled, and of course, to do something that would put your team in a bad situation by taking an additional penalty is kind of crazy. But in the heat of the battle, you do crazy things.
Well, Middle Tennessee has made some mistakes of frustration tonight. Foolish penalties and mistakes. Grossman's still the quarterback, but Middle Tennessee frustrated football team right now.
Very frustrated, and there was a real nice example of once you have fumbled the football and you're not getting much playing time because now Bo Carroll is in there. Watch Ernest Graham as he goes in there. He's being very careful. Watch him put both arms over the football, and he's holding on for dear life because he knows if he coughs it up again, he might not play anymore this afternoon.
Ball is at the 5. Grossman from the shotgun. He'll throw it. Caldwell has it, but he is knocked straight to the turf by number 19, Joaquin Bradley.
Well, Bradley read this all the way, and the tough thing about trying to run that particular play down here is there's nowhere for the corner to back up. So when you're trying to run the quick screen, as soon as he sees the quarterback set, throws the football, he's already driving, and Willis has no chance of executing the block on Joaquin Bradley to give Rashay Caldwell some room to run.
It is third down from the 8-yard line of Middle Tennessee. The Gators trying to cash in on a Blue Raider fumble. The officials conferring.
We have a sideline warning against Middle Tennessee's, their second sideline warning of the game.
So Middle Tennessee creeping too far out onto the playing field.
But that's when you say as a coach, I'm getting beat 38-0. What does me getting closer to the game and not being back has to do with playing football?
And you might have a good point if you made that, if you were Andy McCullum. Been a long night already for the head coach of Middle Tennessee, just trying to keep his team up psychologically at this point. They're down 38-0, and the Gators knocking on the door again.
And Grossman has been perfect here today, 4-4.
He's not 5 for 5. He tried to thread the ball in there to Taylor Jacobs, and Jermaine Francis was in excellent coverage in the end zone.
Well, this is just an excellent play by Francis because Taylor Jacobs goes up, has a chance to make this catch, but Francis knocks it out. As you see, Grossman trying to fit it in between two defenders.
Florida's field goal team is on. The Gators' 38-0 lead is their biggest halftime lead since they walloped Central Michigan several years ago. 82-6 was the final score of that game. And 3 more from the foot of Jeff Chandler make it 41-0. The 5th-ranked Gators rolling in the swamp.
It takes a lot to put a winning team on the field. Healthy nutrition for starters. That's why orange juice goes on our table. Not just any kind, but those with the Florida Sunshine Tree on the label. That guarantees 100% pure Florida-grown orange juice. It's nothing but healthy and tastes unbeatable. You know, Florida's got 2 great winners going for it, and we both wear orange. Florida orange juice. Are you drinking enough?
This game is brought to you in part by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Dodge. In a perfect world, everything would be different. And by SunTrust Bank. We're back in the swamp. David Steele, Nat Moore. The Florida Gators leading the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders 41-0 in the 3rd quarter. Alsop weaving across the 25 and out of bounds. Wardell Alsop at the 31-yard line.
Alsop on the return. Knocked out of bounds by Nateel.
Mike Nateel makes the stop for the Florida Gators special teams. Special teams play has been outstanding for the most part tonight for the University of Florida Gators. And backup quarterback Jason Johnson comes back onto the field for Middle Tennessee. He played 3 or 4 series in the first half, and like Counts, had little success moving the Raiders offense against this lightning quick Florida defense. Hansford Johnson catching the ball in the flat, slanting back across the center of the field with about a 7 or 8 yard play. Alex Brown having himself a big night, makes the stop for the Gators. Florida scoring drive after the fumble.
And that's a negative. You get the ball down on the 7-yard line and 4 plays and you're not able to punch it in. You know, you've got to be able to punch it in when you get it down there.
Ran the ball once with Graham, tried to throw it into the end zone twice. A handoff to Hicks. He'll pick up the first down for the Raiders across the 40 to the 43-yard line. Dwan Hicks, workhorse in the backfield. He is the only experienced tailback available. They lost Jamison Palmer last week to a torn ACL against Illinois.
And you know, the thing that I'm sitting here thinking about, David, is you see Gerard Warren make that play there, but at what point do you start to pull your starters on defense, knowing that you don't want to get any of those guys hurt?
Calico was open. He had a step on his man, but he couldn't pull it in. Westbrook had been beaten on the play, but it's been a frustrating night for the highly touted wide receiving core from Middle Tennessee, and including Tyrone Calico, who's dropped a couple of balls.
Yeah, this is his 2nd or 3rd drop of the day. Nice job of faking the hitch and then getting him behind Westbrook, but he sees Dixon out of the corner of his eyes, and he tries to body catch it instead of catching it in his hands. Ball goes right through.
2nd down from the 42-yard line. Shovel pass. Hicks to the 45. 3-yard gain. It will be 3rd and 7 for the Raiders.
I sure hope we got another look at this, because as Johnson started to pitch this ball to Hicks, Travis Harris is in great position to pick this thing off, but he's so in tune to the quarterback, he runs right by it, right there. If he's paying attention, he intercepts that, and he's going the other way.
Third down for the Raiders. Johnson looking to the sideline. Now fires it to Johnson. Hands for Johnson. Well, he's not very big, as he didn't take a whole lot to knock him off of his feet. Todd Johnson bounced him. He's got quick feet, very fast.
Yeah, he's only 156 pounds, and you know, they keep running the screen, and he keep running back to the middle. You know, there's something wrong with these small guys where they keep going in there where the big guys are.
Johnson, a junior out of Norcross, Georgia.
You know, sometimes I think courage gets overplayed. It's not all it's cranked up to be.
Well, he hurt his ankle last week against Illinois. Has come back. Middle Tennessee going to go for it on fourth down and short. They do not get it. Big hit at the line of scrimmage, and Ian Scott just stood the running back up behind the line.
Well, not only did he stand the running back up, but he also took on the guard and just totally flattened the guard with the right forearm, kept that left arm free, and then destroyed Hicks before he could get into the hole.
Scott has already forced and recovered a fumble today.
I mean,
and look at this play.
Just excellent job of standing up number 69. It was actually the center that he stood up and just drove him backwards, and then with the free arm made the tackle.
Big freshman from Gainesville, a valedictorian of his high school class. And there's the injured Gator on the field, Derek Chambers, the senior from Lawndale, North Carolina, still on the field. And it looks like Chambers is going to be all right. Well, the classes of 1955, 60, 70, 75, and 80 will hold reunions on September the 8th and 9th. And the Grand Guard reunion for the class of 1950 and all prior years will be held September 21st through the 23rd. For more information, call the UF Alumni Association, 888-352-5866, or log on to www.reunions.ufalumni.ufl.edu. Talk to our old friend Wayne McDaniel over there at the alumni office. Great catch. Willis out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Florida's receivers have played exceptionally well tonight.
Well, I think they got a talking to by the head ball coach and the receiver coach. As you see him working on Bradley. Nice job of running his route, but he goes up. Perfect throw by Rex Grossman, and even a better throw because he was under pressure, which we didn't get a chance to see, but he threw this around a free blitzer.
Here's Grossman looking to throw on first down. And his arm too strong on that play as he overshoots Taylor Jacobs. We saw Jesse Palmer. Palmer, a touchdown pass to Jacobs. Grossman has thrown 2 touchdown passes for Florida tonight. Jeff Chandler has kicked 2 field goals. The Gators scored on a Graham touchdown run and on a 54-yard punt return by Lito Shepard. It all adds up to a 41-0 score in the third quarter. Play action. Grossman tucks it under and still on his feet to the 35. You got to be careful there because you are a sitting duck. Rex Grossman able to hop right back up after taking a pretty good shot from Randy Arnold.
Well, Arnold makes the tackle, but this tackle is made because Grossman took too long to make up his mind. You know, he's back there. He's got great protection. Nice job by the offensive line, and he's sitting there. There's nothing open. You make up your mind. You got to go. You can't sit there that long before you decide to take off. And finally, once he does take off, everybody reacts up. If he'd have took off early, he might have had a big gain there, David, because he'd been able to stay out to the right side there where the hole was.
But instead, it'll be third down and 6. And they hand it off to Jacobs to the 30. Jacobs to the 27-yard line, a first down for the Gators. A tackle made by Isaiah Brown.
where Isaiah Brown makes the tackle, but Bradley has a shot at Tail as he comes around. He just throws himself at speed, and he turns upfield, keeps going. So you got to wrap up as a defender to try and make a tackle. You can't just throw a body block and hope that the guy falls down.
Ryan Hagebrook in the game. Split wide to the left for the Gators. Gaffney to the right side. And Grossman, good protection. Incomplete, intended for the tight end, Kirk Wells, down at the 5-yard line.
David, I think I've seen the ball thrown to the tight end more in these first two ball games than we normally get to see all year long, and rightfully so when you've got a guy like Kirk Wells that has good speed, does a good job of running pass routes and getting down through the middle of the field. You've got to try and get him the football, as you see Rex Grossman tried to do there.
Wells, an outstanding student, too, in graphic design. Guy very dedicated not only to his career in football, but in the classroom as well. Grossman throws a dart over the center. It's caught by Hagebrook inside the 10-yard line at the 9.
This offensive line is really growing up. Bland comes in and makes the tackle on Hagebrook, but the offensive line, nice job of pass protection. Now watch him pass along these defenders. As you see, Pearson comes back out, picks up the tackle coming around. Clean pocket for Rex Grossman to throw the football to Hagebrook here.
Nice job by Graham, also picking up a rusher. Now the flag is dropped once again before the ball is snapped.
They have a dead ball substitution infraction against the white team, breaking 12 men out of the huddle, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's at least the second time this has been called against the Gators.
And you know, most people would think, how in the world can you continually make that mistake? But when you send in and substitute as much as these teams do, you can always end up where a guy doesn't know that he's the guy that's going out until the play is called, and then it's too late. You got to have better communication coming in and off the field, where guys coming in signal to the guy that's coming, that they're supposed to replace, that he's got to come out of the ball game. Otherwise, guy sits there and you get hit with the penalty.
Gators just get the snap away. The tight end is wide open. Touchdown, it's Aaron Walker again. 2 in 1 game for the big tight end. He's got 3 career receptions, 2 of them tonight, and both for touchdowns.
Well, I'll tell you this here. As we go back and we see exactly what Rex Grossman sees, he goes, wait a minute, who is this big guy wide open going down through the middle of the field, as he hits Walker for the easy touchdown. It looked like they actually caught Middle Tennessee not ready for the ball to be snapped, because they came up to the line of scrimmage, looked like the clock was going to run out, and they snapped the ball. Boom, Walker came wide open.
And the route continues from the swamp. Aaron Walker, the tight end, with 2 touchdown receptions tonight for the Florida Gators. Incredible that Florida really using its tight end this year. A lot of people were skeptical, even though it had been talked about in the preseason, because since Kirkpatrick in the early 90s, the Gators really have not utilized their tight ends for pass-catching purposes.
Well, one of the things through the years has always been that Steve Spurrier likes to go to the 3 wide, 4 wide to his receivers. Well, this year, the tight end is back in the offense, as you see Rex Grossman to Aaron Walker, and this is the 3rd touchdown of the year for the tight ends in only 2 ball games.
Scoring drive, impressive, directed by the freshman quarterback Rex Grossman. 7 plays, 50 yards, only 2.5 minutes off the clock, and the route goes on. 48-0 Florida in the 3rd quarter with 6:25 to play. Junior Jason Johnson, the signal caller for the Blue Raiders. Hands it off to Hicks, and Dewan Hicks bounces across the 20 to the 23-yard line. Ian Scott was there to make the tackle. Well, anytime you have a freshman, a true freshman, that is getting this much playing time, and particularly when he's playing with a group of veteran players like the Warrens and Gurleys and Alex Browns and Thad Bullards, And you put him out there, Nat, and you see almost no drop-off. He's an outstanding young player, isn't he?
Well, coming in, they knew that they were going to have to play some of these young guys. And Ian Scott's one of the guys that they really expect big things from, and he has not disappointed them at all.
There's a big catch by Newsom. His second reception of the night. He needs one more to become the all-time leading receiver at Middle Tennessee. Todd Johnson hit him pretty good.
Well, Newsom is just running an in route, and Todd Johnson back sees the throw. Just as the ball releases, he breaks up. Nice job coming up, making the short tackle on Newsom.
That's his 110th career reception at Middle Tennessee, the junior from Decatur, Georgia. Johnson throwing again. Looking for Calico, and Calico holds on this time. Todd Johnson rides him out of bounds at the 31. Well, that's the dynamic duo receiving corps that we talked about earlier, back-to-back, Newsom and Calico, and they've been very quiet tonight thanks to a great Florida defense in large part.
And now the Gators have dropped back, and they're trying to go to some of their zone coverages, and they're only rushing 4, and what that does is it gives Johnson plenty of time to throw the football. The receivers are now running deep routes instead of the quick short routes and picking up large yardage.
This is the most serious threat for the Raiders tonight. And Hicks running into Darrell Lee, number 86. Short gain on the play, give him about a yard, as Lee, the freshman from Kirkwood, Missouri, one of 13 true freshmen who played last week against Ball State. Number 1 ranked recruiting class this past year. And they're getting a chance to show what they can do here early in the season.
And as I said last week, David, when you start to see these young freshmen come in and play the way they do, you understand even more so why Florida was ranked number 1 in the nation in recruiting last year.
Johnson wants to run the ball. He tipped it off pretty early. Let's see if he's athletic enough to get the job done. Gators so quick and athletic defensively. And Ratliff is there to make the tackle. Well, Johnson running all over the place back behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, I don't care how athletic you are and how talented you are against this Gator defense. If you run sideline to sideline, you're in trouble. If you don't split them and get upfield early on, there you see Ratliff making the tackle with Marcus Oquendo coming in. But the key is against this kind of defense that has speed and quickness, especially lateral, you've got to go upfield. You cannot run lateral, which Johnson tried to do there.
I think we saw Todd Johnson just grabbed and thrown.
Against the offense, 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Replay second down.
We saw it on the replay. At the end of the replay, Todd Johnson was in position to make a tackle, and a Middle Tennessee player just grabbed him and threw him to the ground.
Well, he's just trying to protect his quarterback,
sure.
Right here. As you can see. Matter of fact, he's actually held by 2 guys and then slung down. But there you see the speed of this Gator defense, and that's what it's built on, speed and quickness, as they come in to throw him for a loss.
Hands for Johnson. Oh, what a nice play out there on the corner. And the Gators able to stuff the play after a couple of yards. Todd Johnson once again there.
Well, there was just a heads-up play by Todd Johnson because he never took a side. He had a blocker on him. He never took a side one way or another, which would allow the receiver to turn upfield. He forced the receiver to make a decision, and then he was able to react and make the tackle. Nice job of fighting off the blocker and making the tackle.
Well, he's had an exceptional game tonight. He models himself after Lynch, the Tampa Bay Bucks, John Lynch.
Well, that's a good one.
Yep.
If you want to be like somebody, John Lynch is not a bad guy to model yourself after.
Of course, Todd down there from the Bay Area, Sarasota.
Timeout Middle Tennessee. Their first timeout of the second half.
Florida, do you know they haven't punted a ball tonight? 3:23 to go in the third quarter. It's third down for Middle Tennessee State at the Florida 39-yard line. They need 15 yards to pick up a first down. And they throw the screen. Hands for Johnson, drilled from behind by another Johnson, Marquez Oquendo Johnson. How many Johnsons can you have in one game?
Well, we've got our hands full, but, you know, this is a play that I really don't understand as a receiver. You continue to throw the ball out to the receiver. You got all your blockers coming out, but you're forcing your receiver to run back inside where all the traffic is coming from. As you see Marcus Oquendo come back after rushing the quarterback and still able to get in on the play. And, of course, now Hanford Johnson is hurt.
Marcus Oquendo Johnson has made some big hits out here tonight. And timeout is used by Florida.
Timeout Florida, their first timeout of the second half.
Stopping the clock with 2 minutes, 44 seconds to play in the third quarter. The Gator volleyball team will return home to host the University of Florida Hotel and Conference Center Invitational. That takes place on September 15th and 16th. In first-round action, Wake Forest will face Pepperdine at 5 p.m. on Friday the 15th. That'll be followed by the Gators against Florida Atlantic University at 7. Second-round action continues on Saturday the 16th. If you'd like information on tickets, call 1-800-34-GATOR. This game is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, best service, best price. Pride of the Sunshine performing here in the swamp, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, a nasty place for opposing teams in the Steve Spurrier era. The Gators have only lost 4 games here total, and against unranked teams, they're perfect, 70-0, and that's not about to change tonight.
And a very difficult place to come into after a disappointing game the week prior. You know that they're going to make the corrections. They're going to be hell-bent for election.
Robert Billings will punt it. Ratliff standing deep at about the 10-yard line. Billings trying to pin the Gators back. And, boy, he deadens that one nicely. He's already put the Gators back inside their 5 with a beautiful pooch punt in the first half. And now this one spotted at the 7. 25-yard punt, but with great effect by freshman Robert Billings.
Well, nice kick by Billings. A better job by the special teams, as we saw at that point. Kawan Ratliff signaled for the fair catch, did everything right, just got the bad bounce.
Well, Gator fans, tune in to Sunshine Network Thursday at 7 o'clock for Gator Hotline, the popular call-in show featuring the head Gator himself, Steve Spurrier. Join the coach and Mick Hubert. They'll take your calls from the fans and talk about this year's Gator season. It's an hour of nonstop Gator chomp live on Sunshine. Rex Grossman handing off to Bo Carroll. Stopped by Billy Durham, the linebacker. You know, this Middle Tennessee team with a 3-4 defense, Nat, a little bit different from what the Gators are generally accustomed to seeing, and considerably different from what they'll see next week up in Knoxville.
Well, and that had to be pretty tough for the Gators scheduling this football game, knowing that they're going to play a team that's 3-4 on defense, and you're trying to get ready for Tennessee next week that plays their standard 4-3. So, you know, not a week where you can actually work on your preparation for Tennessee while working on this game plan here.
Well, give credit to big number 98, Deco Tench, because he ran Bo Carroll down from behind. And that is a pretty nice accomplishment in and of itself.
Well, let's give Tico some credit, but let's also say that he's already got his motor running while Bo is starting to accelerate. Let's not start talking like Bowden got slow all of a sudden here.
No, absolutely not. But to Tench's credit, you're down 48-0 in the third quarter, and you make a hustle play like that, then you deserve a pat on the back.
And rightfully so. That's the second time that he's been able to come up and make a play of that nature on a screen pass.
Marcus Harvey making the stop in the backfield on Bo Carroll. Florida kind of settling into a rather routine offensive set here late in the third quarter with a 48-0 lead. Steve Spurrier not inclined to continue to pour it on, although there could be a third quarterback, Brock Berlin. And what do you do there, Nat? If you put a third-team quarterback that you'd like to get some experience, do you turn him loose with your full offensive complement?
You got to run your offense. The only way to get him ready to play in case something happens is to run your offense. So you must run it.
And that was a play that had no chance. Incomplete to Carroll. Grossman trying to find somebody open on the left side. The pass is ruled incomplete. Gatlin and Brown. Excellent defense for Middle Tennessee.
Well, this is the play that the ball just takes so long. Once you scramble out to your left, and now you're trying to throw back across your body to get the ball to Bo Carroll. Ball takes forever to get there, and that allows the defender, number 30, to come up and make the tackle. And that was Isaiah Brown on the hit.
Time winding down in the third quarter from Florida Field. And the Gators will allow the clock to hit 0-0-0. So after 3 quarters of play from the Swamp, number 5 Florida, 48-0. Today's game is brought to you by the Gator Insider at SunshineNetwork.com. Daily update on Gator sports. David Steele and Nat Moore from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Week 2 of the college football season. A day of upsets for some. South Carolina knocked off Georgia.
What a difference a week makes. You're looking at the Gator fans. They're celebrating, having a great time. Last week, about this time, they were booing them. It shows you just how the fans are. They love you when you win and when you put on a great show. And they're disappointed in you when you don't produce as expected.
The nature of the beast, no doubt about it. What about Nebraska surviving a close call against Notre Dame? Is Notre Dame back, you think, Nat?
I think Notre Dame has gotten it turned around.
Delay of the game against the offense, violation of the 25-second clock, still third down.
And really show you what a great job Coach Davies has done to turn that program around. But I think the big thing in that ball game as a win in overtime was the fact of special teams, how important special teams is, returning 2 kicks for touchdowns.
Kept them in it, no doubt about it. Helped send the game into overtime against number 1 Nebraska. Pass intended for tight end Kirk Wells. Grossman seems to have an affinity for the big fellas, doesn't he?
Well, he had him open, and that was a catchable ball that Grossman just didn't make the catch. I mean, excuse me, that Wells didn't make the catch, but Grossman had Kurt Wells wide open coming through there, and he sort of nonchalanted the attempt.
And we witness a first early in the fourth quarter. The Gators' first punt of the night. Alan Ryan standing back at about the 3-yard line. Ewell is the deep man for Middle Tennessee. There's a flag down. And Ryan hits it low. Going to bounce at the 42, kick across the 40. And Florida will down the ball at the 34-yard line. A 49-yard punt. And if this is a 5-yard penalty against Middle Tennessee, you might just decline this one. Because it wouldn't be enough for a first down. It is an offside call against the Raiders.
We have offside against the receiving team. The penalty is declined. Middle Tennessee will have the ball. First down.
And the Gators do decline the penalty. The Raiders with the ball at their 34.
5 seconds into the fourth quarter here at the Swamp, and a big lead for the Gators, so why keep watching? Well, first of all, you already paid for it. Secondly, hey, there's a lot of guys we haven't seen much of. The second offensive line, which struggled a week ago, they've got to have some success, and still keep your eye out for number 9, Brock Berlin. Gator fans are starting to chant his name.
And Counts throwing up high for Calico, and the pass batted away by Benny Alexander and incomplete. Good point, Larry. You paid your money. You might as well get 4 full quarters, unless you're watching up there in Nashville, Tennessee. Then I'm not sure exactly why you continue to watch it.
Well, I think you continue to watch because, you know, you love college football. You want to see these young men go out and give it their all and play 4 quarters. But Benny Alexander showing you the intelligence of the young guy. That time, he read pattern. He knew it was a takeoff. He got good depth, knowing that he was going to have to go up against a 6'4" receiver. So he got himself in good position where he can go up and knock the ball away.
Good rush put on. The pass caught. They're going to give it to him. Nope, incomplete at the 44-yard line. That was Newsom trying to become the all-time leading receiver at Middle Tennessee, but he couldn't haul it in.
And the reason he was not able to come down with the catch is you see Byron Hartman Griffin getting a hand on it and deflected the ball. Still, a guy's name that we haven't said much about is Travis Harris, who got his first start here tonight, but because of the multiple offenses that this team runs, a lot of times your middle linebacker's out of the ball game because you go nickel and dime.
Big rush on Manuel, had a lot of pressure on the quarterback Counts. He is dropped behind the line of scrimmage. And there's Lee again, that true freshman. Boy, good-looking player, isn't he, from Missouri?
Good-looking player. That, you know, all these guys, they're in their lanes, and they're just pushing the pocket back. But watch the quickness as they react back up and make the tackles. You see Darrell Lee coming over from his defensive end position to get the sack.
Kenny Parker, 95, was also assisting on that play. Another freshman out of Warner Robins, Georgia. A lot of youngsters, as Larry pointed out, going to get to play in this fourth quarter. Billings punting again. Ratliff from the 33-yard line. Look out. At the 50. Ratliff to the 40. Brought down at the 29-yard line. Farrier, or rather Ratliff with the big return. What a return by the young freshman.
You're watching Breakfast with the Gators on Sunshine Network.
And Grossman throwing on first down, threw it into the hands of Hicks. Pikes, rather. Delvin Pikes, the strong safety, with the interception. The pass overthrown by Rex Grossman. And Pikes gets the pick, his fourth career interception at Middle Tennessee State University. Let's take another look from the start of the play this time.
Well, Grossman really has nothing as he's looking at his receiver all the way, so Pikes has got a beeline on it, and then he just overshoots his receiver, intended receiver, Brian Huggerbrook. And if it's not for Tommy Hilliard at the center position coming over fighting off a blocker, Pikes has a shot at putting this into the end zone.
Well, the Gators have fumbled a couple of times, and now they've thrown an interception. Swing pass. Here is number 28 for Middle Tennessee. That's Callaway, the young man who just became eligible yesterday. The offensive high school player of the year in the state of Georgia last year. Had some NCAA eligibility problems, which finally have been resolved as of yesterday. And this is supposedly a very talented young man, and he gets his first touch as a Blue Raider here at Florida Field against the Gators.
And you're going to need a backup for Dwan Hicks. You know, Hicks is the workhorse, but after losing one of their running backs earlier in the year, I think it was Palmer, they need a guy like Callaway to come in and spell Hicks every now and then.
And another fresh tailback, Corey Connor, number 23, dots the I. And here's Connor getting the call. Another young man who has no experience running the football at Middle Tennessee. Moved from the defensive backfield position. He is a senior from Alcoa, Tennessee. And that is his first carry for Middle Tennessee. Trying to get the first down, and we'll have a timeout for measurement.
Not really a big guy at only 178 pounds, but nice of Coach McCullough to put him in, give him a chance to get some playing time, being a senior and being behind a bunch of young tailbacks that are starters.
While they measure, let's take an opportunity to view the Sun Belt Conference of the future. Now, this might surprise some people because when you see the list of football playing teams in the Sun Belt next year, this is as ubiquitous of a conference as you'll ever see. Teams all over the globe. Arkansas State, Idaho, 2 teams from Louisiana, Middle Tennessee, New Mexico State, and North Texas. That's next year.
Well, the one thing is they're going to have some great frequent flyer miles.
Absolutely. You throw in all sports teams from the University of Denver, the University of New Orleans, South Alabama, Arkansas, Little Rock, Western Kentucky, and FIU is in the Sun Belt. All conference, all sports, starting next year. And off to the tailback, Don Callaway. Freshman stacked up near the line of scrimmage.
Let's go back and take another look at it. As you see, look like there's going to be a hole right up the middle, but as he tries to fight to get back in there, There you see big number 95 coming over, making the tackle. That's Kenny Parker.
Made a couple of stops here in the fourth quarter. Counts to throw. Ball batted away at the line of scrimmage and incomplete on second down. It'll be 3rd and 11 for Middle Tennessee.
Well, David, you know a game's going great when you start to look at your depth chart and the guys are not on there, and you have to start going to a scorecard to find out who there is, who the players are. Here's another look at David Lee going up, knocking the ball down, deflecting the pass as Counts tried to get it out to his wide receiver.
A good look at Darrell Lee. He's made some big plays tonight. A name you're going to hear more and more of for the Gators. 3rd and 11 for Middle Tennessee. Counts going to keep the ball, and there's just too much speed out there, and he fumbled it. From the 50-yard line, this is going to be a touchdown for the Gators. It is Todd Johnson, I think, picking it up and taking it all the way in.
And Todd Johnson just standing back there looking at the quarterback trying to run, and then he says, oh, look what I found as the ball is popped loose and bounces right up to him. Now you'll see West County, he's trying to run a little draw action there, quarterback keeper, but a nice job by Marcus Oquendo, who has had an excellent football game, and the ball bounces right to Todd Johnson, and the only thing he has to worry about now is the foot race as he goes 76 yards for the touchdown.
The Gators taking advantage of the fumbled football, now leading 55-0.
Well, here's another look at it as West Counts is actually running a little quarterback keeper, but as he tries to hit it up in the hole, the ball is shook loose by Marcus Oquendo Johnson, bounces to the other Johnson, Todd Johnson, and then it's just a foot race as he outruns Callaway to the end zone for 75-yard touchdown.
Todd Johnson showing some outstanding speed there. Callaway, a guy that can put him up and put him down for Middle Tennessee State, had the angle and still couldn't catch Todd Johnson to prevent the touchdown. Also brings it out for Middle Tennessee.
Well, I think Callaway misjudged Johnson's speed and took a bad pursuit angle, and of course Johnson ran off and left him.
Matt Jackson made the stop on the special teams. Gators looking for their first shutout since the '96 season. Blowout over the Kentucky Wildcats in September. And they've got 10 minutes, 57 seconds to try and hold on to the goose egg on the Middle Tennessee side of the scoreboard. Another Johnson in the game. Jason Johnson hands off to Callaway. Callaway stood up near the line of scrimmage. Daryl Dixon right in the thick of things along with Lee again. A lot to cheer about tonight for Florida football fans. Last week against Ball State, lack of consistency, but no doubt about it, progress has been made from week 1 to week 2. The Gators soccer team will host nationally ranked Texas A&M this Sunday, September 10th rather. That starts at 2 p.m. at Percy Beard Stadium. The first 1,000 fans get trading cards courtesy of Gatorade, and the admission is free. Women's programs at the University of Florida rated number 2 nationally by Sports Illustrated for women. Saw that earlier this week. Great overall women's athletic program. The injured player is Jason Spray, the starting fullback for Middle Tennessee State, playing the special teams, and this is not what Andy McCollum needs to be happening. Starting players on his offensive unit getting hurt on special team play.
Well, one of the risks that you run when you play a powerhouse as a small school like Middle Tennessee State is that you end up getting some players hurt, and as you start to get into your season, fortunately enough for them, they're not in a conference as of yet. Next year they'll go into a conference, and hopefully they won't get beat up in the extra games. Because, you know, if you go back and you look at the Florida history, one of the things that hurt Florida and kept them from winning the SEC was the people that they got hurt early on in non-conference games.
Very true.
Johnson's pass.
Benny Alexander, quick on the coverage against Calico.
Shot by Manuel Alexander.
And the ball spotted at about the 32-yard line. It's going to require a measurement. Clock stopped at 10:23 to play. The Florida Gators 55, Middle Tennessee State nothing. Conference portion of the schedule begins next week up in Knoxville against Tennessee, and Volunteers got a big win to start the season. That was upset potential anytime you play a Southern Mississippi team. And you know you're going to have your hands full. So Tennessee survived that scare last week in Knoxville, and the Gators take them on next week up at Neyland Stadium. Then Kentucky here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. That should be the 23rd of September. At Mississippi State on the 30th. And then home against LSU on the 7th of October. Back-to-back big games there here in the Swamp. LSU and Auburn on the 7th and the 14th of October. Auburn appears to be much better this year. Tommy Tuberville doing a good job with that program.
Tommy had a chance to go back into Ole Miss today and see if he can come out of there with a victory. A long-awaited opportunity.
Well, things totally falling apart. Arpege roll breaking down the Middle Tennessee offensive front. Middle Tennessee really struggling now in the fourth quarter.
Well, let me show you something about this Gator defense. And we always talk about quickness and speed. Here's a guy, he thinks there's an opening. As he starts to go, you see it close in, and he starts running the other way. You know, normally, Jason Johnson would have been able to pop through there and would have had a big gainer. But Arpege roll and that roll, and the remainder of that Gator defensive line reacts so fast, there was nowhere for him to run with the football.
And Callaway slips ahead to about the 30-yard line. Gain of 5 yards on the play for Don Callaway, one of 15 children. Small town in South Georgia, Colquitt, Georgia.
So you're telling me that his parents didn't have a TV?
I don't know about that. You think they didn't, huh?
They didn't have a TV if they had 15 children.
No way, huh?
They weren't watching television.
They're too busy.
They were busy. And I can speak from experience. My grandfather had 17, and we definitely didn't have a TV.
Johnson tosses it out in the flat to Ewell. Look at that Florida defense converge quickly at the 34-yard line. Lee is there once again. Seems like he's been all over the field. Arpege roll again. Getting up off the bottom of the stack. And Middle Tennessee will punt the football with 8:20 and clock ticking in the fourth quarter.
And David, all afternoon, the Gators have done such a nice job of defending the quick screen to the wide receiver by forcing them back inside to all the traffic. And these guys are coming back and getting hit by the pursuit of the defensive lineman.
Ratliff standing deep at the 25. And Billings hits it straight up the chute. A Gator bounce down at the 45-yard line where Florida takes over. A new quarterback for the Gators is Brock Berlin. His first pass for the Florida Gators is incomplete. Intended for Kelvin Kite. And there's a good look at young Brock Berlin, the true freshman from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Well, this is not a great throw. This is a catchable ball. Nice job stepping up in the pocket. And then Kite's got to make this catch. He has a chance to help his quarterback out. Not able to come up with the grab. But a nice effort by the freshman receiver.
Berlin, strong-arm quarterback. Hands the ball off on the draw play to Carthon, and the freshman to the 46-yard line. Glenn Jones makes the stop for Middle Tennessee. There's the son of Maurice Carthon.
Well, you know that these guys are playing against a team that's badly beaten and shaken, but just a nice job by the second-team guys. A lot of freshman players. We saw Shannon Shell out front blocking, and like you say, Maurice Carthon's son doing a nice job of running the football. So it looked like the Gators are in good shape for the future.
A lot of good athletes running around. Carthon getting his first career carry. And gets the handoff again. Bouncing off tacklers to the 40-yard line is Rand Carthon picking up the Florida first down. Francis on the tackle for Middle Tennessee, number 8.
And someone can tell Randy he runs just like his father, Maurice. Straight ahead, no moves. If you're in my way, I'm running over you. As you saw him come through the hole, had a would-be tackle there, didn't put a move on, just ran right over him.
And got the necessary yardage for the first down with the clock running. 6:40 to play in the football game. The Gators led 38-0 at the half. Berlin back to throw. Tried to hit the tight end Ben Troop and overthrew him. And there was good coverage by Middle Tennessee.
And that's just the young guy making up his mind pre-snap that he's going to the tight end as he tried to fit the ball to the Troop, because Troop had 2 guys draped all over him, and the person to go to is the outside receiver who has the one-on-one. You know, as you get experience, you get where you understand the offense, you start to go through the progression of your reads, and you find the open receiver. That time he tried to force it in.
Brock Berlin, the 3rd Florida quarterback to see duty tonight. Short drop, rifles the ball into the flat. It is caught and short of a first down to the 32-yard line
Berlin pass complete to Gaffney.
for the Florida Gators. Gaffney
Stopped by Pikes.
on the reception. Delvin Pikes made the tackle for Middle Tennessee.
You know, when you have quarterbacks with good, strong arms like the Gators have in Palmer, Grossman, and now Berlin, you can run this hitch route. Even though it's a long throw out to the wide side of the field, they get a lot of mustard on the football. The wide receiver does a nice job of running the defender off, turning. The ball is there.
Third down. Carthon needed to cross the 30 and get to the 29 to pick up the first down. And he'll be short, stopped cold at the 30-yard line. Isaiah Brown denied Carthon the first down. And on 4th down, the Gators are going to go for the first down, try to keep the clock running. 5:20 to play. And they line up with Carthon behind quarterback Brock Berlin. Maybe a little bit less than a yard. Berlin fumbled the snap. And therefore, I'm not sure that he got the first down or not. I don't think so.
I don't think he got it. Mishandled the snap and threw off the timing of the play. And I don't know if they had actually called a quarterback sneak, but he was forced to try and pick it up and get as much as he could, which should not be enough.
Well, the young man who threw for over 4,000 yards his senior year in high school. Not able to move the sticks on this play.
Yeah, he just pulls out. Looked like it was going to be a fake, and he was going to carry the ball anyway. But, you know, in the spring, Brock Berlin, his first snap from center, he fumbled. The next series, he fumbled, picked it up, and by the time he got it the 3rd time, he looked like he was an all-pro. So, you know, I still expect to see big things. Guys got to be a little nervous. You know, your first opportunity as a NCAA player.
Well, they'll get plenty more opportunities, I'm sure. Palmer and Grossman very effective tonight. Mop-up time for Brock Berlin. And a little more difficult to look real sharp in this type of situation.
As well as he's playing with the second unit, where
right.
you've got a different center in there, but it should be the center that he's been working with in camp. So that's really no excuse.
We have an illegal crackback block against the offense. 15-yard penalty from the Slaughter foul. Still first down.
So Newsom would have had the all-time record with that reception, but they're going to take it back. Nat, let's just send out our best get-well wishes and good luck wishes to Shaw Buck, Gator quarterback back in 1931. Also played baseball, professional baseball, taught high school for many years, high school football and baseball at Groveland for more than 37 years. And we just want to send our well wishes out to Shaw Buck, great Gator, always tuned in to the Gators.
And a very speedy recovery.
Middle Tennessee operating
Around the carry.
from its own territory. The Raiders have really had very few opportunities. They've only crossed the 50-yard line a couple of times tonight. Andy McCullum, whose team ran the ball up the field last week at Illinois, has got to be just beside whose offense has not generated more yardage tonight against the Florida Gators.
And you got to give the Florida Gators defense and John Hope a lot of credit, because you know they could have folded when this team came out in the first drive, moved the ball down 45 yards, and they stopped them. So therefore, this team hopefully is peaking at the right time. You got Tennessee next week, and when you go into Knoxville, defensively, you've got to be ready to play.
Interception, Westbrook took it off the fingertips of Newsome. And down he goes at the 34-yard line.
And this is just a very opportunistic defense, as Westbrook is on the coverage, but the ball is deflected. He has the presence of mind of staying with it. He actually catches this ball with one hand, I think. Let's take another look at it. Ball is deflected. And looked like he grabs it with one hand. No, he put two on it, but a nice job of staying with the play because he was beat. And then Calico actually comes back and makes the tackle.
First career interception for Marquise Westbrook. And Florida will take the ball with 3:41 left in the game, leading 55-0. Berlin scrambling. He is very elusive and is upended at the 35-yard line. He does not mind putting the football away and running for yardage, Nat.
Well, Berlin is a pretty good athlete, and he has confidence that he can make something happen either with his arms or with his legs. As you see, he goes back, he gets pressure. You know, he gets out of the pocket. That's something we haven't seen a lot of. And now once he decides to make a decision, he tucks it under, he tries to get upfield. But smart thing to do would have been to get out of bounds.
A little safer. He did pick up 2 yards, but what a price he paid for him. And it's 2nd down and 8. Hand off to Carthon. Across the 35 to the 40-yard line. Well, let's check that. That's Chuck Marks now, the tailback for the Gators. Getting some fourth quarter action here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Chuck, a sophomore tailback out of Albany, Georgia. Another very talented player, Nat, but you're stacked up in there behind Gillespie and Graham and Bo Carroll and Rand Carthon.
Well, and with a team that runs the ball exceptionally well with the guys when they do decide to run it, but it's a team that throws the ball. They live and die by the pass, and you know the run is something that comes off of the pass. So you don't get a lot of opportunities.
It looked like Berlin tripped over maybe an offensive lineman as he stepped up into the pocket and delivered the ball to Carlos Perez. And the youngster from Hoboken, New Jersey, has his first career reception.
Well, this is just where they get pressure in the backfield, and the defensive tackle gets pushed back into Brock Berlin as he's releasing the football. He's not able to get a lot on it, but a nice job of Carlos Perez of making sure the catch, because there was a defender in the area that had a shot at the interception.
A couple of yards short of a first down. Florida punting the ball for just the 2nd time tonight as Ryan lets it fly. Gets a favorable bounce. And Florida going to down this one inside the 10 at the 9 with only a minute 22 left in the football game. For all the latest in Gator sports, get in the zone. That's GatorZone.com, the official website of the Florida Gators. Also, order all of your official licensed Gator merchandise online from the official Gator Sports Shop at GatorZone.com.
Well, David, it was, you hate to ever have to punt the football, but it was good to see Alan Ryan get a couple shots here today to try and gain some confidence after having 2 blocked last week versus Ball State. The Gators went back, worked hard on it. They also switched the center. You now got Eric Johnston snapping, so hopefully the Gators have gotten it corrected, and he won't have to kick much versus Tennessee, but when called upon, he can get the job done.
Callaway, a little misdirection activity, bouncing out of bounds as he picks up the first down yardage to the 24-yard line. There you saw the quick feet of the freshman from Colquitt, Georgia, Matt Ferrier, in on the tackle along with Lester Norwood, number 21 for the Florida Gators.
Well, as a head coach, there's not very much you can take out of this ball game if you're Andy McCullough, but you got to be pretty happy that your team didn't quit. They're still fighting, you know, every down, as we saw on that last play. Callaway running hard, picking up a first down.
Left-hander takes the snap, throws a dart out there in the flat to Ewell. Nice play by Ewell. He made a nifty move and steps out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Ratliff is able to bounce him out of bounds. That stops the clock with 1:05 to play.
Well, here's another look at it, and what you're doing is you're trying to push out, run the defender out, and you pitch it out to your slot guy, and nice job of running by David Ewell after the catch with a blocker in front of him.
Put a nice move on Gus Scott, the freshman from Jacksonville. It is first down for Middle Tennessee. 1:05 left. Play clock down to 2 as he finally takes the snap. Almost picked off by Lee. That was almost an interception. We're going to call that an incompleted pass.
Forward pass. Incomplete forward pass.
Lee has already had a big night. He almost had a touchdown to throw in
And this
on
is
the
just, this is, Dave, excuse me, just being aware, seeing the play develop and realize it's an option. And they came very close to that actually being a backwards pitch. And looked like it was. Looked like it really was. Just nice job by Darrell Lee of being alert, getting into the pitch lane and swatting the ball down.
Middle Tennessee trying to avoid the shutout. They'll hand it off this time to Callaway. Callaway breaks a tackle to the 50 to the 49 of Florida. Clock continues to run. And there's Corey Connor that time on the carry, rather. 23 is Connor, the converted defensive back.
Well, if you're John Hoke, you're watching that clock, you're hoping that it keeps.
You want that shutout, don't you?
You want the shutout, but what is happening? Every time they pick up a first down, they stop the clock to move the chains in college.
Clock now ticking again. 36 seconds to play. Florida looking for its first shutout since '96 against Kentucky. Connor bounced behind the line of scrimmage. He lost a couple of yards back to the 49. Number 95 in on the play again, Kenny Parker. The freshman's made some big plays tonight. Saw Matt Jackson jumping in there to seal the deal. Number 19 for the Florida defense, and that is going to be the final play of the football game. The Gators get their shutout. It is a rout of Middle Tennessee State University in the swamp. Steve Spurrier now 71-0 against unranked opponents here at home during his head coaching tenure. Handshake for Andy McCullough. Middle Tennessee will take a big paycheck back to Murfreesboro, but a lot of bumps and bruises as well. Perhaps a deflated ego. Things get a little bit easier for them, no question about that, considerably easier next week when they'll play at home against Murray State University. And of course, Florida looks ahead to the huge September showdown against the Tennessee Volunteers up at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. The Gators made improvement in virtually every area from week 1 to week 2. Now Steve Spurrier and his coaching staff, the players have to have a lot of confidence regarding next weekend. Let's go to Larry Vitale with Steve Spurrier.
All right, thanks a lot, David. Coach, seemed like a much sharper Florida football team tonight.
Yeah, we practiced a little bit better and played a little sharper. So, yeah, I was proud of the effort. And coaches had a good plan. Our players played their assignments a lot better tonight.
Rex Grossman got a lot of useful time and had a couple touchdowns earlier.
Yeah, Rex did some nice pitching. I got to teach him to throw underneath when he gets hung up. I can't get one to do that yet, but before the year's over, I hope we can. But Rex, yeah, he played well. He only had 1 or 2 little bad plays in there. So we'll see what we're going to do next week.
Lito Shepherd gave you a great kick return.
He didn't play all that bad. I just had to let Rex get in there and see what he could do. Yeah, Lito had a beautiful play.
All right, Coach Steve Spurrier back upstairs to David and Nat.
Well, there is Rex Grossman, the redshirt freshman from Bloomington, Indiana. He pitched 3 touchdown passes tonight. He pitched them pretty good out there, Nat.
That's why we call him the head ball coach.
Absolutely. Jesse Palmer, a touchdown pass. Special teams play truly outstanding tonight. The Gators romp against Middle Tennessee State University. The final score is 55-0. So Florida came in ranked number 5 in the country and did not do anything to hurt that ranking tonight. We'll be back in just a moment.